Shalom, my name is Adam, and I welcome you to the parable of the Vineyard. Every day, YHWH is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to His righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of His law. Join us as we seek to be refined by His Word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in His way, truth, and life. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Parable of Vineyard. This is week 3, 4, and 5 of our Torah portion study. I apologize, I've been gone for a few weeks. We just got done celebrating the Feast of Passover and Unleavened Bread, and we do the whole week-long celebration here on site and put the big tent out and worship every night and do the camping, and it's kind of like a little mini Sukkot, kind of like a Sukkot prep. We did see back in the day, all the children of Israel would kind of flock to Jerusalem and celebrate it all in one place. And so it was a big gathering back in the day. And so we just want to keep that, revive that spirit in this last day where people actually come together and do stuff. And so that's definitely going to be a continuous nudge from me moving forward. Is this walk is not meant to be walked out online. That's not the fullness of this walk. It's meant to be done in person. It's meant to have fellowship, eating together, dancing together, singing together, campfires, discussions, studies, reading the Word, testimonies, just doing life together is how it's meant to be, especially at the feast days. So anyways, regardless of when you celebrate, I hope it was blessed. If you haven't celebrated the feast days yet, I pray you consider it that these are the foreshadow of Messiah, is pointing to Him, His first and second coming. If you want to love Him, this is the way to do it, especially the feast days. So anyways, I was gone for a few weeks, so this is going to be a long one. Now we're going to be covering chapters 12, verse 1 through all the way through 25:18. So this is a triple Torah portion. Now, obviously, I'm probably going to be a little more brief on each chapter than I would a normal one, but nevertheless, there's still a lot to cover. And I really did not want to miss going over Abraham with you all. Really just taking another look at this story a little closer this year than I ever have. Well, I guess that's the goal every year, right, is to look more closely. But really not wanting to miss the blessings of Abraham. Someone last year prophesied over me saying, "You're going to inherit all the blessings of Abraham." And I was just like, I took that and really thought about it. And, not that it's just for me personally, it's for us. It's for the remnant. We will inherit all these things, inherit all the blessings of Abraham. And so just going back through this, it's very rich, and I definitely didn't want to miss that. So I didn't want to skip weeks 3 and 4 and just move right to 5 with you guys. So we're going back to week 3. And we're going to cover these. So let's pray real quick, blow shofars, and we'll get on with it. I've already, almost 4 minutes in already. So Heavenly Father, YHWH, we just come before you, and we bless you in Yahushua's name. And we just thank you for reviving us in these last days, giving us life and abundantly. Thank you for the reconciliation through the blood and atonement of Yahushua on the cross. And we just want to follow him, and we want to follow you obediently, our King, our priest, and we just bless you. Just ask that you bless this study, that we may be faithful hearers and doers. Amen. Hallelujah. So let's blow the shofars and get ready. All right. Hallelujah. And man, I got 4 new songs. It was so cool. Like, the Feast of Unleavened Bread ended, and then 4 songs in 4 days. I was like, man, praise Abba. All right, here we go. We're gonna read. We're gonna have Genesis 12 read, and then we're going to talk about it. This is Abraham here. Bereshit, Genesis chapter 12. Now YHWH had said unto Abram,
Get you out of your country, and from your kindred, and from your father's house, unto a land that I will show you. And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless you, and curse him that curses you. And in you shall all families of the earth be blessed.
So Abram departed as Yahweh had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his woman, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was in the land. And Yahweh appeared unto Abram and said,
Unto your seed will I give this land.
And there built he an altar unto Yahweh, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Beit El, and pitched his tent, having Beit El on the west, and Ai on the east. And there he built an altar unto Yahweh, and called upon the name of Yahweh. And Abram journeyed, going on still towards the Negev. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Mitzrayim to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Mitzrayim, that he said unto Sarai his woman,
Behold now, I know that you are a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass when the Mitzrayim shall see you, that they shall say, This is his woman, and they will kill me, but they will save you alive. Say, I pray you, you are my sister, that it may be well with me for your sake, and my soul shall live because of you.
And it came to pass that when Abram was come into Mitzrayim,
Okay, not really sure why it's doing that, but we'll keep reading. The Mitzrayim beheld the woman, that she was very fair. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her, and commended her before Pharaoh. And the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entreated Avram well for her sake. And he had sheep and oxen, and he asses, and men servants, and maid servants, and she asses, and camels. And Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Avram's woman. And Pharaoh called Avram and said, What is this that you have done unto me? Why did you not tell me that she was your woman? And why said you, She's my sister, so I might have taken her to be my woman? Now therefore, behold your woman, take her and go your way. And Pharaoh commended his men concerning him, and they sent him away and his woman and all that he had. All right, so we have the introduction of Abraham here. And normally, the last couple years, I've read all the adjoining, or most of the adjoining passages from the book of Jasher. Now, I know the book of Jasher is contended. Some people say it's not the real one. Maybe so. But I will say, let's see here. I want to actually just put these in here. Where am I going? So Joshua 10:13 and 2 Samuel 1:18, not 19, 18, talks about this book of Jasher. Are you saying, are these things not written in the book of Jasher? Now, some people would say that doesn't qualify it as scripture, and that's fine. But nevertheless, there's extra details. And if you like the extra details, I believe that the details, especially surrounding Abraham, are true. But I have the scripture references for you if you want to study it on your own. But I want to kind of quickly get you up to speed, because there's a lot of Abraham's life before Genesis 12. I mean, he's well into his latter age, once we get to know him here. And so in the book of Jasher, just to kind of quickly summarize, Abraham is born by a star. His father was one of the commanders in Nimrod's kingdom. Abraham, well, there's lots of interesting things. Abraham destroys his father's idols, and condemns idolatry. He's taken in front of Nimrod. He's imprisoned for opposing idolatry. The royal council decrees death by burning for Abraham destroying his father's gods. Abraham and his brother Haran are cast into a fiery furnace, kind of like in Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael in Babylon. Just the same thing. But Abraham is in there for like 3 days, unharmed. And so Haran dies. Abraham is saved. And there's many witnesses. There was like 900,000 people witnessing this. The king's astonished, of course. Abraham testifies that Elohim alone saved him. The people honor Elohim. Abraham's given gifts, servants, including Eliezer from Nimrod's kingdom, and roughly 300 men. That was the establishment of Abraham's house there. Abraham returns home and begins turning people to serve Elohim. And Nimrod later dreams of Abraham's future power and threat. Wise men interpret the dream. Abraham's descendants will overthrow kingdoms. Nimrod wants to kill Abraham. Eliezer warns Abram. He flees and hides with Noah and Shem. And then, of course, it comes to Abraham and is like, hey, leave your father's house and everything. And so there's actually a lot more. That's a really, really brief summary, but there's a lot of adventure to Abraham's life before he even gets called in Genesis 12 here. And so I think it's worth your read, but just for time's sake, especially this year's cycle with doing 3 portions, we're not going to be able to read the Jasher adjoining part there. But nevertheless, this is the beginning of the seed of Abraham, and just want to kind of set the stage here of we really should look at Abraham's life and be able to like, okay, kind of like when Yah says David is a man after his own heart, you should be able to look at all of David's actions, of course, other than Uriah and the Bathsheba incident, and you should be able to look at his decisions and be like, well, that's how Yah would have handled it. That's Yah's heart. So Matthew 3:9, and think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father, for I say unto you that Elohim is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. So by our physical births, we shouldn't look back and be like, well, we're this and this, so we're good. And that's unfortunately what modern day Judaism still walks into this very day, and I can speak from experience growing up in Judaism and leaving it. I can tell you that's still the understanding today. That's still what the rabbis kind of push today, which is like, hey, you should do the commandments, you should keep our man-made traditions, but at the end of the day, you're the seed of Abraham, so he can't forsake you, he can't destroy you, he will love you. And then just real quickly, this is the Pharisees and Sadducees kind of going back with Messiah, back and forth. And he says, I know that you are Abraham's seed, but you seek to kill me because my word has no place in you. I speak that which I have seen with my father, and you do that which you have seen with your father. So he's like, you're Abraham's seed, but you have a different father. And so they're confused, right? They answered to him, Abraham's our father. YHWH said unto them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. But now you seek to kill me, a man that's told you the truth, the Torah, which I have heard of Elohim. This did not Abraham. You do the deeds of your father, right? And so they're not understanding, but basically he's saying whose works you follow, that is your father spiritually. And ultimately, that is your father. Paul says in a different way, don't you know that who you obey is your master? And then Messiah says in another place, why do you call me master and don't do the things I tell you? So he says, YHWH said to them, if Elohim were your father, you would love me. And so anyways, the point is here, he ends up calling him their father the devil because of their deeds. And so ultimately, that's the children we want to be, is we want to be the children of Elohim, not by just because of our physical birth, but by our spiritual birth and by our actions. So we should be able to look at Abraham's actions and be like, well, let's do that too. A couple of things. Galatians 3:28-29. There's neither Jew nor Greek, or Jew or Gentile, you can even say. There's neither bond nor free. There's neither male nor female, for you all one in Messiah YHWH. Not that physical Jews and physical Gentiles don't exist, nor that male or female doesn't exist. Of course those things still exist, but what's he saying? There's a greater thing. For you're all one in Messiah YHWH, which is the greater identity. And if you be Messiah, if your identity is in Christ, Mashiach, then you're Abraham's seed, heirs according to the promise. And so this is what I was saying at the beginning of this. Last year, someone that I love and trust said, hey, Adam, you are like, looked at me straight in the eyes, like, you are about to inherit Abraham's promise, all of his inheritance. I'm like, whoa, I'll receive that, But this is not just limited to me. This is to us. And it's true. And so if for the seed of Abraham, we're Israel. It says, but you, Israel, are my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. The address for that was Isaiah 41:8. My apologies. But I always have study notes in case anyone's new. I leave all the study notes so you can kind of go back and go over everything I did or went over. Romans 2:28, for he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly. So it's like physical Jews, like I was born physically a Jew, but Paul's saying that doesn't matter. For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that of the circumcision, which is outward in the flesh, but he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and the circumcision is that of the heart in the spirit, not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of Elohim. And we'll talk about a little bit later about circumcision. Just also this new understanding doesn't replace physical circumcision. Physical circumcision still exists, but the greater one, of course, is of the heart. Revelation 2:9, I know your works and tribulation and poverty, but you're rich, and I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews, but are not, but the synagogue of Satan. And those people are still alive today. From my understanding, he's going to bring judgment to the uttermost on those people who have been gathered as thorns and branches to be set on fire, is what John 15 says. Right? He says, if you don't abide in me, then you are to be, right. If a man abide not in me, he's cast forth a branch as withered, and men gather them and cast them to the fire and they're burned. And I believe that's what the 1948 political state of Israel is for. And it may seem really harsh, or it may seem harsh, but that's just how I understand prophecy. There's a whole playlist on the political state of Israel if you want to take a look at that, in case you're like, what is he talking about? But at the same time, I think the world is getting prepped for that. And I think the sins of this nation and the pride and the haughtiness and the detestability of their religion and what's written in their Talmud and their horrific acts, their genocide, their unauthorized genocide, etc. People are realizing that this is the bitter and hasty and synagogue of Satan. Let's just go with that. So you have the call of Abraham, which I think is the call for a lot of people today, kind of just getting up and going and leaving. Matthew 19:16-21, we got to be ready to get rid of all of it. So this is what he says, behold, one came to him and said, Master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? Like, we all want to know this question. And he said to him, why do you call me good? There is none good but one, that is Elohim. But if you will enter into life, keep the commandments. Like, hello, praise Abba, that people are like, yeah. Okay. So, and then he goes on, of course, to talk about the commandments, and the young man's like, well, okay, I keep the commandments. And the Messiah's like, well, if you want to be perfect, which we should be striving for, go and sell what you have and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. And so, I think it's often misunderstood. This is what this man needed to be perfect. Some of us don't even have possessions. Right? Or at least not a lot. Some of us do. But the point is to be able to get rid of, be willing to give up anything. And of course, that's going to come 10 chapters from now in chapter 22 when Yahweh tells him to give up his only son. But I think there's a calling in these last days for all of us to be able to get up and just go when Abba tells us to. Genesis 12:5. Abram took Sarai, his woman, Lot, his brother's son. So we know that Lot is at least his nephew, right? And it says, all their substance they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. So this really, to me, corroborates with the story of leaving Nimrod's kingdom and literally gathering souls. Like, people were like converted to Yah through that. Out of the 900,000 that saw that, 300 were like, yeah, I'm coming with you, because whoever you serve, that's who I want to serve. So they had gotten souls. Let's see. And then also I just want to make mention, just speaking of Jasher, Jasher does tell us that Sarah and Lot were brother and sister. So Haran conceived and bare, the wife of Haran conceived and bare a son, called his name Lot. She conceived again and bare a daughter. She called her name Milcah, and then conceived again and bare a daughter called her name Sarai. So Sarai and Lot were brother and sister. So Sarai, in fact, was his niece, not his actual sister. Later on, when he says, like, yeah, she's my sister, we'll recognize that that's a Hebrew understanding. Just like in Song of Solomon, it says, my sister, my wife. Well, Victoria is my wife, and she's also in the faith my sister. She's my achi. She's my achot, my sister. She's my isha, my wife. Right, so like Song of Solomon, right? You have ravished my heart, achoti, my sister. Don't need you. Right, my sister, my spouse. So that's a very similar statement that Abraham was making, my sister, but then of course he withheld the my wife part so that his life would be spared. Some people would point at him at that, but the nations were detestable. We'll get a little snippet into this with Sodom. And Sodom was the worst, but a lot of the other nations were also doing similar. They just do what they want. They're somewhat lawless. I mean, they had some law and order, but stuff like this, if Pharaoh was like, gimme, that was it. So he protected his family. Okay, so let's go to chapter 13. So obviously the call of Abraham here, are we willing to just drop it all for the call? All right, chapter 13.
Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 13. And Abram went up out of Mitzrayim, he and his woman and all that he had, and Lot with him into the Negev. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journeys from the Negev even to Beit El, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Beit El and Ai, unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. And there Abraham called on the name of YHWH. And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelled then in the land. And Abram said unto Lot,
Let there be no strife, I pray you, between me and you, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we be brethren. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself, I pray you, from me. If you will take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if you depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left.
And Lot lifted up his eyes, and beheld all the circle of the Yarden, that it was well watered everywhere, before YHWH destroyed Sodom and Amorah, even as the garden of YHWH, like the land of Mitzrayim, as ye come unto Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the circle of the Yarden, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves, the one from the other. And Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the circle of the Yarden, and pitched his tent toward Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before YHWH exceedingly. And YHWH said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him,
Lift up now your eyes, and look from the place where you are, northward and southward, and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see, to you will I give it, and to your seed forever. And I will make your seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall your seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto you.
Then Abram removed his tent, and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto YHWH.
All right, praise Abba. Chapter 13. Abraham came out rich, just like the Israelites when they came out of Egypt. They came out rich. Praise Abba. That's obviously what's to come for his people. When all this goes down, it's like the flip-flop. He's going to cut down the rich and the haughty, and he's going to raise those that are low on high. But anyways, it said that Abraham called on the name of Yahweh. So it's like, what was he doing? Was he just like, was the big event like, Yahweh? Like, that's it? Like, is that the fullness of like, wow, he called on the name of Yahweh? And so we'll address this a little bit when we look at Exodus 34, but what the name of Yahweh really is. Because, is the faith dwindled down to you just call on his name? I mean, isn't that what Christianity teaches, that you just call on the name of Jesus and you're saved? Was that the same for us? But now it's just the right name? So it's just like you say Yahusha or Yahweh, and is that calling on the name of Yahweh? It's much deeper, in my opinion. We actually have a study, saved by the name, I think. I don't know. In any case, if you want a deeper dive on that. But here it said the land was not able to bear them. Of course, they were fruitful. Their substance was great. And then strife between the herdsmen. And, this is just what happens, unfortunately, when you get a lot of people together and strife. But, of course, that's the challenge, is to establish order and justice and right ruling, to mediate and to mitigate these things, and to have a peaceable and righteous community. But nevertheless, strife does arise. That's just how it goes. That's why there is Torah. That's why there is a Matthew 18 process, a judicial process. But nevertheless, the point here is that there was strife and there was a separation needed. And, it's kind of interesting that, like, right after the separation, and of course, now Yahweh's like, here's the promise. And, I've seen it firsthand in the assembly that, it's hard when there's snips and there's separations. It's very hard. It's very painful. And it probably should be, because if you have the right heart, your heart is to be knitted with people, and it's to want to build together. It's to want to get to know one another, to have friendships, to have community. So when people leave or there's separation, it hurts. It should hurt. For people it doesn't hurt. I'd say check your heart, because what's the whole point of all this? And so, but I've also seen that when that happens, there is usually blessing. And we see that, of course, in gardening. Just the rose bush is the perfect example. When you have branches that just really aren't producing many flowers or inferior, and you snip that, it just livens the rest. And it just, that energy it was spent to that kind of dead branch is put elsewhere. And we've just seen that time and time again. And we're not grizzled old veterans here. We've been doing a serious assembly since fall of 2020. So we're only 6 years into this. But I've seen it. I've seen the seasons also. Seasons come and go. But nevertheless, the point here is, this is what you see. You see the separation, and it was hard. But as soon as that happened, right, now Yahweh appears to Abraham, gives him the promises. I will make your seed as the dust of the earth. There's other ones. He promises him the dust of the earth, because we're made of the dust. Abraham's seed will be as the sand of the sea, which the sand borders and subdues the seas. Think of that. Like, Yah's people subdue the peoples, the chaos. That's a parable, in my opinion. The stars, Abraham's seed, we'll see in Genesis 15, will be as the stars. So now you've got the heavenly light. So I don't know, pretty cool promises there. Pretty cool parallels to draw from of what his seed would be like. And anyways, but nevertheless, you see that the Sodom and Gomorrah used to be a fruitful land, like the Garden of Eden. What happened? Ezekiel 16:48. As I live, says Yahweh, Sodom your sister has not done, she nor her daughters, as you have done, you and your daughters. Behold, this was the iniquity of your sister Sodom. Pride, fullness of bread, An abundance of idleness was in her and her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and the needy. And they were haughty and committed abomination before me. Therefore, I took them away as I saw good. So, to me, echoes a lot of sentiments of America and a lot of mainstream lifestyle. So, let us come out of her, right? And let us take that as an example, lest we live sinful lives. So, Genesis 13:13, the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before Yahweh exceedingly. I'll give you a quick little snippet here. Joshua 18:11. Maybe not for the children. Oof. In those days, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah and the whole 5 cities were exceedingly wicked and sinful against Yahweh, and they provoked Yahweh with their abominations. They strengthened in aging abominably. Look at this. So is that not happening today? I mean, even just years ago, I remember a new thing in fashion was to literally take your blood and put it on your eyelids to get rid of wrinkles and stuff. And of course, a lot of us have heard of, I'm not going to mention some of the names of the methods, but where the elites basically extract things from children and they're able to age, so just or de-age. So Sodom and Gomorrah, they strengthen in aging abominably and scornfully before Yahweh, and their wickedness and crimes were in those days great before Yahweh. And they had in their land a very extensive valley, about half a day's walk, and in it there were fountains of water, a great deal of herbage surrounding the water. And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah went there 4 times in the year with their wives and children, and all belonging to them, and they rejoiced there with timbrels and dances. And in the time of rejoicing, they would all rise and lay hold of their neighbors' wives, and some the virgin daughters of their neighbors, and they enjoyed them. Each man saw his wife and daughter in the hands of his neighbor, and did not say a word. And they did so from morning to night, and afterward they returned home, each man to his house, and each woman to her tent. And so they did always 4 times in the year, probably around the solstices and equinoxes, if I had to take a guess. But it was literally like just a community orgy 4 times a year. But nevertheless, this strength and aging part, it's like there's these hints at the time and day and age that we live in. It is like the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. And then again, I've been mentioning what Revelation 11:8 pinpoints Jerusalem as like spiritually like Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's take a look. And so that place, it says, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our master was crucified." He was crucified in Jerusalem. And so spiritually, that place is called Sodom. And man, anyways. Also in Isaiah 1, he calls the rulers of Jerusalem the rulers of Sodom. And anyways, so we know that sometimes division can be from Yah. In Acts 15, there was a division, right? It says the contention was so sharp between them that they departed asunder from one from another. So Barnabas took Mark and sailed to Cyprus, and Paul chose Silas and departed, being recommended by the brethren. And so we know Paul was very fruitful after this departing, after this separation. And so sometimes separation can be good. And we see that Abraham was planted and was fruitful and grew. This is in gardening talk. This is called propagation. You can take a singular plant and kind of split it, or take boughs off and plant in a whole other plant. And so that's kind of what I see here. I see there was like a big lobbing, if you will, and grew. And this is what the promise is to the house of Israel, the house of David specifically in Ezekiel 17. Now, the house of David is noted as the great cedar to which all the nations should dwell under. But yet, of course, because of his wickedness, they fled from under his shadow. But Ezekiel 17:19 says, "Therefore thus says YHWH, as I live, surely mine oath that he has despised, and my covenant that he has broken, even it will I recompense upon his own head. And I will spread my net upon him, and he shall be taken in my snare, and I will bring him to Babylon, and will plead with him there for his trespass that he has trespassed against me. And all his fugitives with all his bands shall fall by the sword, and they that remain shall be scattered towards all winds, and ye shall know that I Yahweh have spoken it. Thus says YHWH, I will also take of the highest branch of the high cedar," this is the house of David, "and I will set it, and I will crop it off from the top of his young twigs, a tender one." This is similar talk to Isaiah 53 and Isaiah 11. and I will plant it upon a high mountain and an eminent. I think this is talking about the ancient heights of the mountains of Israel that Ezekiel 36 through 38 talk about. The fullness of the promise to Abraham. It says, in the mountain of the height of Israel will I plant it, and it shall bring forth boughs and bear fruit and be a goodly cedar, and under it shall dwell all the fowl of every wing, in the shadow of the branches thereof they shall dwell. So this is the restoration of the house of David, to which all the nations will be under it and subjected to it. And all the trees of the field shall know that I, YHWH, have brought down the high tree, and have exalted the low tree, and have dried up the green tree, and have made the dry tree to flourish. I, YHWH, have spoken it and have done it. So this is like this overturning that we see in Ezekiel 21 when it's time. And when the time appointed, it says, thus says Yahweh Elohim, remove the diadem, take off the crown. This shall not be the same. Exalt him that is low, abase him that is high. So this is what YHWH says. He who is, greatest will be your servant, will be lowest. So it says, I will overturn it, and it shall be no more until he comes, whose right it is, and I will give it to him. So this is that restoration in that last days that's going to happen at some time, and will inherit all the blessings of Abraham. Hallelujah. So, in any case, so the promise, and this is forever. This is the promise forever, which, Zohar has been an interesting topic of study for me lately. I'm going to do something on that later, but not for now. All right, so let's go on to Genesis 14.
Bereshit, Genesis chapter 14. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elakar, Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Birsha, king of Amorah, Shinav, king of Admah, and Shem-Eber, king of Tseboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. All these were joined together in the valley of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Kedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year came Kedorlaomer, and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Zuzim in Ham, and the Emim in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horim in their Mount Seir, unto El Paran, which is by the wilderness. And they returned and came to En Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekim, and also the Amorim, that dwelt in Chatzron Tamar. And there went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Amorah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Tseboim, and the king of Bela, the same as Zoar, and they joined battle with them in the valley of Siddim, with Kedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and with Tidal, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elakar, 4 kings with 5. And the valley of Siddim was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Amorah fled, and fell there, and they that remained fled to the mountain. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Amorah, and all their victuals, and went their way. And they took Lot, Abram's brother, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. And there came one that had escaped, and told Abram the Ivri, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. And he divided himself against them, he and his servants, by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hova, which is on the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot, and his goods, and the women also, and the people. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Kedorlaomer, and of the kings that were with him, at the valley of Shaveh, which is in the king's valley. And Malkitzedek, king of Shalem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of El Elyon. And he blessed him and said,
Blessed be Avram of El Elyon, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be El Elyon, which has delivered your enemies into your hand.
And he gave them tithes of all. And the king of Sodom said unto Abram,
Give me the persons, and take the goods for yourself.
And Abram said to the king of Sodom,
I have lifted up my hand unto El Yahuwah, El Elyon, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread even to a shoe latchet, and that I will not take anything that is yours, lest you should say, I have made Avram rich, save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them take their portion.
All right, chapter 14. Let's see here. So not a whole lot of notes on this. Once again, this Zohar thing keeps coming up, but pray for me on that. I really want to understand that better. There's a lot of prophecies in the last days. Some of you that maybe have been following, been doing some studies on Moab and the poetic and spiritual understanding of end times Moab and the connection with the United States. And of course, Moab stemming from Zoar, which we'll read about in Genesis 19 with Lot and his daughters. It just keeps popping up, and there's a lot of mention of Zoar in the prophetic in the end times. So I'm like, what is this connection? So, nevertheless, let's take a look at these battles here. So this is like, to me, this is like the real battle for Middle Earth. You have these Hollywood blockbusters of these massive battles with giants and massive siege weapons, and this is what this campaign sounds like. You've got these massive armies coming together and destroying basically these giants, is what this was. And and it was also looking at it's just massive battles. So I'm not going to dwell on that too long. Again, just kind of being brief on this one. But looking at Melchizedek, of course, is always an interesting topic. Now, of course, since I do believe Jasher is a true book and true recounting, now is a perfect without any insertions. No, I can't say that, but we can't also say that, but canon either. But yet, Yahweh is giving us discernment in the spirit to know what's from him. At least this is how I understand it. So it says, and Adonizek, or Melchizedek, king of Jerusalem, the same was Shem, went out with his men to meet Abram and his people. So there's a couple other confirming witnesses. The writings of Abraham also annotate the Aramaic version of the scriptures also pen Shem as the active Melchizedek, which, to my understanding, just like Hebrew says, was without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like on the son of Elohim, abides a priest continuous. So this is an office that I believe started with Adam and was passed down. All the exact offices filled, I don't know, but maybe you've got Adam, Enoch, definitely, maybe some of the other sons, Noah, passing it down, which all throughout Jasher, you've got Noah and Shem basically have established the house of Elohim, and there they teach. There they taught the law of the Most High. And anyways, you have Abraham going there for a time, Isaac going there for a time, Jacob going there for a time. Of course, Noah was passed away in those later years, but nevertheless, the writings of Abraham specifically have this passage, to which I think the writer of Hebrews draws from, that this is not according to a physical lineage, although the physical lineage runs parallel, Adam to Noah, at least from there, and moving on, and the messianic lineage, but nevertheless, it's not passed down through that. This is a spiritual office that combines kingship and priesthood together, which is what Yahusha brought back together. So, but just wanted to make mention of the Shem dynamic. I do believe that is a true account. And also, just another testing of Abraham here. I mean, he just destroyed massive armies. Jasher, I think, says 5 armies, I think 1 million people, roughly. And all that gear, I mean, that's just insta riches. And then, of course, all the stuff that was stolen from Sodom and Gomorrah and all those cities was recovered also. So this, now you're talking about just massive riches. But Abraham passed the test, and he's like, no, I'm not going to take anything that's yours. Right here. That's the righteousness right there. A righteous man that does what's right. You know, a tyrant could be like, well, I recovered it. It's mine. You know? Abraham's like, no, you can have your stuff back. You know, hey, you know, my bad on the stuff that they had to eat while we were saving your stuff. You know, hey, they had to eat, and, you know, maybe some of those oxen we slew so we can eat and have energy. But the rest is yours. And they're like, wow, thank you, righteous man. So, anyways. Right, he restored all the goods to the rightful owners rather than taking for himself. And so this is, we look at the deeds of Abraham. The deeds of Abraham is, defended his family. There was separation. You know, he could have been like, well, you know, you're not with us. So see, this is what happened to you, you know, or, I mean, any kind of excuse, or it's his own problem, or I'm not getting involved in that. I mean, he took care of business. All throughout scriptures, we see Abraham as a kind, gentle man. We'll see it here in following chapters, where literally bowing down to the children of Heth, you know, not a great nation, and he's just being courteous to them. We'll see that in future chapters, he's in league with some Amorites. He's in confederate with them. And so even his enemies are at peace with him. And so Abraham was just an all-around good guy. And I'd like to be more like him. So let's go to Genesis 15, some of the deep promises. So this is really where my ears are open. If we are that generation that's going to receive the promises, inheritance of Abraham, man, let's get dialed in.
Bereshit, Genesis chapter 15. After these things, the word of Yahweh came unto Abram in a vision, saying,
Fear not, Avram. I am your shield, and your exceeding great reward.
And Abram said,
Adonai, Yahuwah, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus?
And Abram said,
Behold, to me you have given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is my heir.
And behold, the word of Yahweh came unto him, saying,
This shall not be your heir, but he that shall come forth out of your own generation shall be your heir.
And he brought him forth abroad and said,
Look now towards the heavens, and count the stars, if you be able to number them.
And he said unto him,
So shall your seed be.
And he believed in Yahweh, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him,
I am Yahuwah, that brought you out of Ur of the Kasdim, to give you this land to inherit it.
And he said,
Adonai, Yahuwah, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it?
And he said unto him,
Take me a heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon.
And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another, but the birds he divided not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram,
Know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they shall come out with great substance, and you shall go to your fathers in peace. You shall be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorim is not yet full.
And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. And the same day Yahweh cut a covenant with Abram, saying,
Unto your seed have I given this land, from the river of Mitzrayim unto the great river, the river Perath, the Canaim, and the Kenazim, and the Kadmonim, and the Hittim, and the Perizim, and the Rephaim, and the Amorim, and the Kenainim, and the Girgashim, and the Yevusim.
All right. So Genesis 15, going right up to the top here. I like that in the app it's bold here, the word of Yahweh. And so we know that one of the titles for Messiah is the word, and it's just my continued understanding, at least developed understanding. What didn't start here. I of course started with, Jesus and the Son of God, and at first it seemed like, and what Christianity would I guess share, is that like the Father had his rules and they were really tough and he was mean, and then Jesus came and like pretty much just slacked everything. It made things just really simple, like, hey, just believe that, hey, like, hello, just believe that was me on the cross and you're good. Of course, that's dished out in many different ways and at different degrees away from the truth, but I'm understanding that Messiah is he's my God. He's my Elohim. He's my many things. I mean, he's my Father, and of course for us men, it's very hard to understand, but our husband, the vine, the source we come from, he's the root. He's the king. He's our high priest. He's our example. He's our Passover lamb, unleavened bread. He's everything. And that's, if there's any fault ever, with Abraham, it's maybe kind of missing it. And that's what I'm understanding, is that Yahusha is this. Like, he is that reward. Like, it's like, I love so many things that he's given me. My wife, my children, like the land he's given us here, the community, the great friends we have here, the stuff. I mean, everybody loves stuff. He's given us stuff here. It's nice. But none of that compares to him. And that's what he said to Abraham here. I'm your shield and your exceeding great reward. And then, Abraham's kind of like, well, I don't have a son, so, kind of like, what gives? I mean, I don't want to impute any sin or any wrongdoing here, because, I mean, how would I feel if I was 90 something years old or 90 and just, I don't, didn't have a son yet, and it's past that time. It's like, oh, okay, it's tough. So you can't point a finger at Abraham at all. But maybe it was just missed here. Kind of maybe glazed over, like, and maybe he did respond, like, yes, you're right. You are my reward. I don't need anything else. You're right. I don't even need a son. You are that. Would be maybe how I would how we would respond now. And I'm not trying to one up Abraham here at all, but because we're able to like look back and examine this in our youth alongside other scriptures, alongside other examples. So this is not like we're better than Abraham. I would never dare say that he's the father of the faith, but I mean, I feel like I get this. I get that Yahusha is greater than any of these things. And ultimately, maybe this played into why Abraham was tested, because ultimately Abraham passed a test that I don't know if I or any of us would pass. So this is why he is the father of the faith, In chapter 22, of course, he does offer up his son and is willing to do it. And then, of course, Yahusha's like, stop. I see that I am number one in your life. So maybe at this moment, Abraham wasn't thinking the right way, but how many of us didn't originally think the right way, but later on, through a test or through a trial, was like, I see. I understand now. Thank you for being patient with me, sir. So ultimately, I think that's kind of what happened, how this matured into offer up your son. Because Abraham did get to show that Yahweh was number one. And ultimately, this is a lot of our testimonies get us to a point like Abraham where we didn't initially recognize this, but now we do. Does that make sense? Maybe. But Yahusha, of course, is the Word, from my understanding. In the beginning was the Word was with Elohim. Elohim, in the English, God is just, it's a little deceiving because Elohim is plural and God seems singular. So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, which is a plural use of El or Eloha, and the Word was Elohim. So if Elohim could be two beings, this is how I understand it. So it's like you have this Father who's greater than Yahusha, that he comes from and everything, but nevertheless, Yahusha himself is our Father. He is our Creator. He just has, in the hierarchy of things, he has someone above him. Remember when Stephen was being martyred? He literally saw two beings. Revelation throne room scene, two beings, right? So John 1:3, all things were made by him, and without him was not anything that was made. So this literally points to Yahusha as our Creator. The Word was made flesh, so he was a pre-existent being and came and became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory as the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. And of course, Yahusha said, right, in John 8:58, before Abraham was, I am. So he's literally declaring that he's a pre-existent being. He is the great El. He's not just a righteous man that was raised up and then chosen. So at least that's what I believe. Look now at the stars. So the seed of Abraham, I believe the stars are an actual parable. If you read Enoch 43, I won't read the whole thing, but basically Enoch is like looking at the stars and he's like, what are these things, right? And then Yahweh has showed you their parabolic meaning. So there's the stars themselves are a parable. These are the names of the holy who dwell on the earth and believe in the name of Yahweh of spirits forever and ever. And the name is just much more than a surface level Yahusha, Yahweh, Yahweh, Jehovah. Whatever, this is not like a open sesame thing where you can just say the name and just act however. The name of Yahweh is his Torah. We'll read that. It's his mercy. It's his long suffering. It's everything. It's the whole package. It's everything that comes with him. It is John 3:16, but it's not limited to John 3:16. It's John 3:16 and this and that. It's everything. It is obedience. Daniel 12, it says, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which stands for the children of your people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as was never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time your people shall be delivered or saved, everyone that should be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. So I'm like, okay, pick me. I'll go. I mean, is it wrong that I want to shine as the star forever and ever? I hope not. And it says, but you, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal up the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro. I think of planes, trains, and automobiles. And knowledge shall be increased. You can think secular. You can think X-rays, MRIs, life-saving technologies. You can go back to airplanes again. Or that the knowledge of the truth, which is the real knowledge, is being increased by his Spirit, by his doctrine, by his reign coming down on his people again. And then I think it's in Daniel 8, you also see that Yah's people are called the stars. I think, is it here? Yeah, and so this talks about Antiochus Epiphanes. At least history interprets that this little horn is Antiochus Epiphanes, which goes into Jerusalem, aka the pleasant land, and it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and stars to the ground and stamped upon them. So we're left with either Antiochus went up into the heavens and was hitting stars down to the sky, to the ground, or this is parabolic talk for he killed a bunch of the holy people in Israel, in Jerusalem. And so you see the same thing, I think, in the Song of Deborah, which I have a version of for you guys tonight. It's one of the new songs. But talking about how they fought against Sisera, yeah, they fought from heaven. The stars in their courses fought against Sisera. Well, the children of Israel fought against Sisera. So the stars in their courses fought against Sisera. And so they fought from heaven. This is really interesting too. When you look in the book of Revelation, talking about the dragon sweeping a third of the stars. You know, a lot of people think, well, that's the third of the angels. I don't know. I think that's part of Matthew 13 with the parable of how the seeds are destroyed. A third of them is destroyed by Satan taking that which was sown in their heart. I think Revelation is a lot more symbolic and parabolic than we can even imagine. And what even heaven is. It says they fought from heaven. So maybe this, it could be talking about the angels, maybe coming down and fighting too. But nevertheless, just some things here. I like getting some of these deeper things. But nevertheless, we are likened to the stars. So you can look up and be like, that's a parable for his people that live on earth and keep the Torah. That's at least what Enoch 43 says. Not all of you taking Enoch as truth, but I do. And Enoch 63 says that the stars are a parable for people who keep the law of Yahweh, believe in the name. So again, this is either something very surface level of people that believe in the name Jesus, or even or also surface level, believe in the name of Yeshua or Yahusha, and then want to take comfort in that they found it and they've figured it out. What is this? No, again, this is not like an open sesame. You just find the magic word and then you're good. Please, let's not reduce our Heavenly Father to such a shallow faith. But so, and then of course Genesis 15:6, he believed in Yahweh and counted to him for righteousness. And so that's true, but there's also other things that are true alongside of that. So let's read Hebrews, let's see. So just real quick. So by faith, so belief, when he was called to go out to a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed and went out, not knowing where he went. So an action is considered faith, belief. This isn't just like, hi, I believe you. Okay, my actions don't show that. No, his actions showed that he believed. I want to read Genesis 26:5 because this is true. He believed in Yahweh. Like, hey, I believe what you just told me. I believe in your promises. And he counted to him for righteousness. So you can't just isolate that one verse and not also look at Genesis 26:5, because he also gets the promise because that Abraham obeyed my voice, kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. The Hebrew word is Torah. And then here's, of course, the faith without works is dead passage, because literally it also positions Abraham, right here, was not Abraham our father justified by works when he offered Isaac? So this is true, believing in Yahweh, counting for righteousness, and then also his works. See how faith wrought with his works, and by his works faith made perfect. And the scripture was fulfilled, which says, Abraham believed Elohim, and it was imputed to him for righteousness, and he was called a friend of Elohim. You see then how that by works a man is justified, and not by faith only. So, and of course he concludes, for as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. So this is true. So we can't be like, well, that's not true. And we can't be like, just believing God's promise, Yahweh's promises, is not a righteous thing. That is very righteous. We can't take away. We can't add to or take away. And then down here, 15, 13, the 400-year deal. It is very interesting, and I think indicative of the United States. 400 years, or those 400 years are up. The captivity's coming up, because consider that the Torah is freedom, and being alienated from the Torah is a big, massive part of slavery. And so we're coming out of that physical, spiritual slavery through the blood of Yahusha, through walking his commandments, and he's going to physically remove that yoke. That's coming. Because consider, the nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they'll come out with great substance. So is has its sins, have they, all right here, so for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. So is it maybe perhaps the iniquity of America is not full, or the iniquity of spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah over there is not quite full? I hope it is, because I can't imagine things getting much worse. But I guess I've been saying that since 2015. So Genesis 16, let us go.
Bereshit, Genesis chapter 16. Now Sarai, Abram's woman, bore him no children, and she had a handmaid, a Mitzrite, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram,
Behold now, Yahuwah has restrained me from bearing. I pray you, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her.
And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's woman, took Hagar, her maid, the Mitzrim, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her man Abram to be his woman. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said unto Abram,
My wrong be upon you. I have given my maid into your bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. Yahuwah judge between me and you.
But Abram said unto Sarai,
Behold, your maid is in your hand. Do to her as it pleases you.
And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. And the angel of Yahweh found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to Shur. And he said,
Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence came you, and whither will you go?
And she said,
I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai.
And the angel of Yahweh said unto her,
Return to your mistress, and submit yourself under her hands.
And the angel of Yahweh said unto her,
I will multiply your seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude.
And the angel of Yahweh said unto her,
Behold, you are with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Yishmael, because Yahuwah has heard your affliction. And he will be a wild man, his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren.
And she called the name of Yahweh that spoke unto her,
See me.
for she said,
Have I also here looked after him that sees me?
Wherefore the well was called Be'er Lachai Roi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name which Hagar bore Yishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Yishmael to Abram.
Okay. So they were given the promise, and it's, how many of us have been maybe hasty in not realize or not waiting for Yah's deliverance? I'm sure I've been guilty, and not even calling them guilty here for doing this, because the eventuality of it was Ishmael and these nations, which was meant to be, obviously. And so yeah, obviously that's something that we can look at this Torah and realize that this was a human effort to try to bring a promise of Yah to pass. Didn't end up too well, right? We have this separation in the house, division in the house. She comes back, of course, by the direction of Yah, and hey, submit yourself. And of course, there's later on, there's also split up. Yeah, but we'll talk about that later, though. But not a whole lot I want to cover here. I did want to say, go look at verse 12. And it says he'll be a wild man. This is Yishmael. Looking at those words, wild man, if we look at a literal interpretation of that verse here, it would be like our interpolation. He will be like a wild desert animal of a man, untamed, independent, and in constant tension with others, would be kind of like a modern day rendering of that. And his history does point at the Arab nations as the sons of Ishmael, and I think that would be pretty indicative. Of course, you see high populations of circumcision and other basic Abrahamic beliefs, and so it's interesting when you see the scriptures kind of play out in the world, and you can just see how, like, wow, over thousands of years the word stands true. And he shall dwell in the presence of all of his brethren, which is still the case today. So, anyways, let's for time's sake, let's move on to 17. Again, I have some references here in the book of Jasher and in the writings of Abraham that kind of expound on some of these stories here. And so, if you want to learn a little more, I've got the study notes that have been building over the years for us. So, chapter 17. Let's take a look at this. Is the covenant of circumcision. I'll make some points a little bit later of why I believe it's still a thing. I don't believe it's been done away with. Because I just like when some of us are reading, like, hey, my Sabbath, do it forever. We're like, see, and we're like, hey, do the feast days, do it forever. We're like, see, and then it's like circumcision forever, and we're like, but it's really bloody. It's really violent. It's ouchy, which I've seen comes up a lot, which is in the name of being nice or kind or empathetic or whatever. You basically have a nullifying of commandments to cater to someone's emotions or feelings or personal desires or whatever. And so life brings us many crossroads of either, like I said, going with one of the aforementioned. Let's just go with someone's feelings, because that comes up a lot, here in the assembly and dealing with issues. When people are selfish and prideful, there's just this lack of ability to want to submit to the Torah rather than their personal feelings or hurts, and so or personal desires, especially the ones that are contrary to the word. So chapter 17, let's go there and let's read it and praise Abba.
Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 17. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, Yahweh appeared to Abram and said unto him,
I am El Shaddai. Walk before me and be perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and you, and will multiply you exceedingly.
And Abram fell on his face, and Elohim talked with him, saying,
As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. Neither shall your name any more be called Avram, but your name shall be Avraham. For a father of many nations have I made you. And I will make you exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of you, and kings shall come out of you. And I will establish my covenant between me and you, and your seed after you, in their generations, for an everlasting covenant. to be Elohim unto you, and to your seed after you. And I will give unto you and to your seed after you the land wherein you are a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their Elohim.
And Elohim said unto Abraham,
You shall guard my covenant, therefore, you and your seed after you in their generations. This is my covenant, which ye shall guard, between me and you and your seed after you. Every male child among you shall be circumcised. And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a sign of the covenant betwixt me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every male child in your generations. He that is born in the house, or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of your seed. He that is born in your house, and he that is bought with your money, must need to be circumcised. And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised male child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant.
And Elohim said unto Abraham,
As for Sarai, your woman, you shall not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her, and give you a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her.
Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart,
Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old, and shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear?
And Abraham said unto Elohim,
Oh, that Ishmael might live before you.
And Elohim said,
Sarah your woman shall bear you a son indeed, and you shall call his name Yitzhak. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard you. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Yitzhak, which Sarah shall bear unto you at this set time in the next year.
And he left off talking with him, and Elohim went up from Abraham. And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the selfsame day, as Elohim had said unto him. And Abraham was 90 years old and 9 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And the selfsame day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. And all the men of his house, born in the house, and bought with money of the stranger, were circumcised with him.
You know, I'll tell you, seeing that they did it that day tells me a lot. This tells me a lot about Abraham's house. So the scriptures don't give us any indication that anyone threw a fit, anyone argued. That, to me, that shows a house that's like united in heart, united in purpose, to where Abraham was like, hey, my Elohim visited me and said that this is the sign that we're really his. I mean, can you imagine that? And everyone's like, yeah, let's go ahead and snip this stuff. Let's snip it right off. I mean, for sure, boss. You know, I mean, think about that. Like, think about that. And that's really this is kind of the circumcision is it's very extreme. And I'm not saying extreme in any negative way towards Yah, but it's just like it's a big deal. I remember, Yoshi's almost 2. I remember almost 2 years ago how violent it is and how deep of an utter of a cry he cried. And it brought us both to tears. But I felt something very ancient about it, and something very, it's painful, but this is what needs to be done. And isn't that like just a shadow and a picture of all of life's crossroads that, I don't know, again, like I said, you have almost daily the opportunity to put Yah first, or your own emotions or other people's emotions or whatever. And this is just one of those things. And I believe it's true. I believe it stands. Just a couple of verses here. Because some people would say that the New Testament teaches us that it's all about the circumcision of the heart. We have to recognize Deuteronomy 10:16 says, "Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart and be no more stiff-necked." It's not a New Testament principle to have a circumcised heart, which is to be open to the law, is to have the law on the heart, is the context of this. You can read it for yourself in Deuteronomy 10. The entire context is in regards to the law. So that's not some new thing that came around in the New Testament. And we have to also understand that the language back then, it was just common language that Jews were called the circumcision, and Romans, Greeks, Gentiles were called the uncircumcised. That was just a name for them. So that's what Paul is saying, is any man called being circumcised, let him not become uncircumcised. And some would argue that there was some sort of surgery that you could get circumcision back. No. Is any called an uncircumcision, let him not be circumcised. Paul is not saying, hey, did you not get the Genesis 17 circumcision? Hey, don't. He's not what he's saying. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing but the keeping of the commandments. Now that should give you a clue of what's going on here, because circumcision is a commandment of Elohim, a pretty stark commandment. He literally says, whoever doesn't have this is cut off. And so let every man abide in the same calling wherein he's called. And so literally he's saying, are you called, being, from a Jewish, a Jewish heritage descent? He's not calling you to now be a Gentile. As a Gentile, you're not called to be a Jew. So literally being of a nation, born of the nation of Yahudim, or being born of the nation of the Gentiles means nothing but the keeping of the commandments of Elohim. And then, of course, Acts 16, right after the Jerusalem Council, like, hey, 4 things a new convert must do. And then literally right after this happens. Then came he to Derbe and Lystra, and behold, a certain disciple was there named Timotheus, the son of a certain woman, which was Jewess, and believed, but his father was a Greek, which was well reported of by the brethren that were at Lystra and Iconium. Him would Paul have to go forth with him, and took him and circumcised him, because of the Jews that were in those quarters, for they all knew that his father was a Greek. And as they went through the cities, they delivered them decrees for to keep that were ordained of the apostles and elders which were in Jerusalem. So if the understanding was that circumcision was done away, especially after the Acts 15 council, like those 4 things, well, we know that wasn't the only 4 things, and we know circumcision wasn't done away with, even though the question was, must we be circumcised to be saved? And they basically concluded that salvation didn't start with circumcision. It started with faith in Mashiach. But hey, before they come to the temple, they got to stop these 4 things like right away, and then they can learn as they go. And then right after that, Paul circumcises Timothy. So we know that when 1 Corinthians he said he didn't say uncircumcision is nothing, like the actual act. We know that's not what he said. And we also know that 2 Peter 3, basically Peter gives a warning that Paul writes in a way, speaking in things which are some things hard to understand. He speaks in parables and in figures of speech. And in Ezekiel 44, in a future context, or maybe even our day, It says, thus says YHWH, no stranger uncircumcised in heart nor uncircumcised in flesh shall enter into my sanctuary, or any stranger that is among the children of Israel. So this is in a future context. Some would say millennial kingdom context. It's both. It's heart and flesh. So that's where I'm at right now. It's heart and flesh. It's both. So anyways. So yeah, I mean, we circumcise our children. And then of course you got the Passover commandment. Messiah, you can follow this along because Messiah is like, do this in remembrance of me. You can call that the law of Christ. So he literally says, do the Passover in remembrance of me. 1 Corinthians 5, Paul tells us to celebrate the Passover. And then of course, when you look at the rules for the Passover, you must be circumcised. So it's like the roads lead there. And you can emotionalize away this commandment. Be like, well, it's whatever. It's all spiritual now. Or you can say whatever you want. But rebellion's rebellion, and it comes in different packages. And so as for me and my house, we circumcise. Hallelujah. Let's go to Genesis 18. So now we're getting into... and also, by the way, I was mentioning his house, how it was in order, and they're all like, yeah, let's take this right off. And then there was no delay. So you want to be the seed of Abraham, we need to be the kind of people that strike while the iron's hot. Don't delay. If you know you got to do something, do it. Right? All right. Let's go to Genesis 18. All right, so now we're into week 4 now. Week 4 is chapter 18, verse 1 through end of 22. So let's get into chapter 18.
Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 18. And YHWH appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes, and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself toward the ground, and said,
My Adonai, if now I have found favor in your sight, pass not away, I pray you, from your servant. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on, for therefore are ye come to your servant.
And they said,
So do, as you have said.
And Abraham hasted into the tent unto El Serah, and said,
Make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth.
And Abraham ran unto the herd, and fetched a calf tender and good, and gave it unto a young man, and he hastened to dress it. And he took butter, and milk, and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. And they said unto him,
Where is Sarah, your woman?
And he said,
Behold, in the tent.
And he said,
I will certainly return unto you according to the time of life, and lo, Sarah your woman shall have a son.
And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and had ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying,
After I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also?
And YHWH said unto El Abraham,
Wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I of a surety bear a child, which am old? Is anything too hard for YHWH? At the time appointed, I will return unto you, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son.
Then Sarah denied, saying,
I laughed not.
For she was afraid. And he said,
Nay, but you did laugh.
And the men rose up from thence, and looked toward Sodom. And Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And Yahweh said,
Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, that they shall guard the way of Yahuwah, to do justice and judgment, that Yahuwah may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken of him.
And Yahweh said,
Because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know.
And the men turned their faces from thence, and went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before Yahweh. And Abraham drew near and said,
Will you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Perchance there be 50 righteous within the city. Will you also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from you to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked. That be far from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right?
And Yahweh said,
If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes.
And Abraham answered and said,
Behold now, I have taken it upon me to speak unto Adonai, which am but dust and ashes. Perchance there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Will you destroy all the city for lack of 5?
And he said,
If I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it.
And he spoke unto him yet again and said,
Perchance there will be 40 found there.
And he said,
I will not do it for 40's sake.
And he said unto him,
Oh, let not Adonai be angry, and I will speak. Perchance there shall be 30 found there.
And he said,
I will not do it if I find 30 there.
And he said,
Behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto Adonai. Perchance there shall be 20 found there.
And he said,
I will not destroy it for 20's sake.
And he said,
Oh, let not Adonai be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. Perchance 10 shall be found there.
And he said,
I will not destroy it for 10's sake.
And Yahweh went his way as soon as he had left communing with Abraham. And Abraham returned unto his place.
So if you really pay attention, you really get a little more of the deeds of Abraham. Going back to Messiah said, hey, if you're the seed of Abraham, then you're going to do the deeds of Abraham. So we should be able to look at Abraham's life. And there's little details if you pay attention of the deeds of Abraham, and we should be striving for that. So obviously multiple meetings already, so Abraham would have an idea if one of these 3 angels was the master himself, which I think has been speculated over the years, because it says Yahweh appeared unto him, right? And anyways, so he bowed down, right? Of course, this angel was not corrected, just like Joshua. Whereas other times you see there's correction, like, hey, don't do that. You know, I'm not the master, so don't do that. But here, of course, you see great hospitality, fetching water, washing feet. We know Messiah, just like Messiah, serving, fetching food. And then it's like, what I love here, it says, Abram hastened into the tent. So like he went fast. And he's like, make ready quickly. 3 minutes. So it's like, let's go. You know, I mean, he's not snapping. I'm not saying he's being rude. That little snap there was not for like sass emphasis. It was more like, hey, let's get to this. No delay. I like Abraham. He's a man of action, and you can see that if you really look what's going on here. And of course, he's got men that are trained. So there's this kind of fatherhood passing down. You've got this So he gives this young man, he hastens to address it. And then, of course, I don't understand how Judaism misses this with the milk and meat misunderstanding there, with not boiling a kid in its mother's milk, which literally just means, and there's other places where you're not supposed to sacrifice an animal that's still on the milk. You wean it first, and then you do it. So anyways, here you have milk and meat, right, together. Literally Abraham, the father of the faith, serving the Messiah a meal, and it's got milk and meat together. So I'm not really sure how that gets missed. But anyways, hospitality is a mark of the master, right? So that you're Abraham's seed. You did the works of Abraham. Abraham was hospitable here. Hebrews 13:1-2, let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Romans 12:10-13, be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love, and honor, preferring one another, not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the master, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, distributing to the necessity of the saints, and given to hospitality, which is what we see here with Abraham. 1 Peter 4:8-10, above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gifts, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. So being good stewards is part of the calling here that he's given us. Praise Abba. And so, also, Jasher 22:11-13. I like reading this every year. I'm not going to skip this here. Abraham planted a large grove in Beersheba, and he made to it 4 gates facing the 4 sides of the earth, and he planted a vineyard in it. So if a traveler came to Abraham, he entered in any gate which was in his road, and remained there, and ate and drank, and satisfied himself, and then departed. For the house of Abraham was always open to the sons of men that passed and repassed, who came daily to eat and drink in the house of Abraham. And any man who had hunger and came to Abraham's house, Abraham would give him bread that he might eat and drink and be satisfied. And anyone that came naked to his house, he would clothe with garments as he might choose, and give him silver and gold, and make known to him YHWH, who had created him in the earth. And this did Abraham all his life. A+, 10 out of 10. I want to be like Abraham. Anyway, so yeah, right? He's without delay, he ran. I love it. Talks about Isaac being born at the time appointed. The moed is the word there. The time of life. I think I understand this. I guess would be springtime. Maybe the springtime moedim time. But yeah. Isaiah 53:2, for he shall grow up before him as a tender plant. We read that earlier in Ezekiel 17. And as a root out of dry ground, for he has no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. So Abraham and Sarah, it was that impossible physical birth that was made possible, miraculous through Yah. In the latter days, you have the spiritual birth in the same way. The land's been barren of faith. The faith has been gone and hidden for ages. There's, I'm sure, a bit of a remnant, but a real restoration. And so you have this root out of a dry ground concept in these last days, like Messiah. This is a messianic prophecy, but we are supposed to follow in Messiah's footsteps. We're supposed to have Mashiach formed in us. So no doubt his seed in the last day that are like him, that will be like after him, would also be like roots out of a dry ground. Micah 5:2, but speaking of spirit, like the birth perspective, so that was like the plant perspective. And now let's talk about the birth perspective. Micah 5:2, but you, Bethlehem, which is the house of bread. We're just talking about Abraham feeding, nourishing. But you, the house of bread, Ephratah, which is fruitfulness, though you be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of you shall he come forth unto me that is to be ruler in Israel, whose going forth have been from old, from everlasting. This is ancient, the Hebrew there, in the English doesn't quite translate, but coming from ancient lineages. Therefore will he give them up until the time that she which travails has brought forth. Then the remnant of his brethren shall return to the children of Israel. And so I think this is spiritual, of course, rather than a physical birth in the last days. And he shall stand and feed in the strength of Yahweh. This is one of the poetic sayings of the Torah. Shall feed in the strength of the Torah, is my understanding, in the majesty, in the name of Yahweh's Elohim. That's saying it in a different way. The name of Yahweh is saying the Torah in a different way. And they shall abide, they shall live, for now shall he be great at the ends of the earth. So this is that spiritual birth in the last days, in my opinion, inheriting all the promises of Abraham, which is also right here, Revelation 12:5. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up to Elohim, to his throne. And so this is, in my opinion, spiritual, but it's pointing to the seed of Abraham bearing that son, that promised one. So, in any case, let's see, what else did I want to hear? This is really important. This has been the focus of my house and this community, this local community here, this is why Abraham was selected. It says, I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him. So Yahweh wants ordered households. He doesn't want chaos. He doesn't want things out of order. And they shall guard the way of Yahweh, to do justice and judgment, that Yahweh may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken. Praise Yah. And so this is what Deuteronomy 6 is about. Deuteronomy 6 literally says he marks us by abiding in the Torah and teaching it to our children. This is all about the commandments, the Torah, loving Yahweh by keeping the commandments. They shall be in our heart, so that's that circumcised heart, and teaching them diligently unto children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign on your hand, and it shall be as frontlets between your eyes. So this is the hand and forehead stuff. The opposite of the mark of the beast. People either have the mark of the beast. When people don't talk about beast system, beast kingdom, well, beast system, beast kingdom has many roads to hell. The beast system, the beast kingdom has many roads to its mark. It's labeled and repackaged different ways, but there's only one way to Yahweh, and he marks us thereupon. And then, also talking about prophecy, one of the biggest end times marker is a group of people coming back to the Torah. So it's talking about when, hey, after all this stuff has happened, and you're scattered all the nations, and you start returning to me, you and your children with all your heart, that then Yahweh will turn your captivity. So it's like a precursor. We have to be like Abraham, ordering our households. And later on, couple Torah portions from now, like Jacob, having to remove idolatry from our home. And then you see that blessing after he did that. So it's like the circumcision, then he came and gave the promise of Isaac. At least the clear promise of Isaac. Like literally, he's coming next year. Yeah. So also, I'm curious here. We know that the Master knows all things. So I wonder, we know he can see anything he wants at any time, but he says, I will go down and see whether they have done it altogether according to the cry of it. So he's heard the cries, but it's like I don't know if he has to, but he wrote it this way. I will go down and see whether they have done. So does he have to go down and look, or can he not from heaven just look down and see anything he wants? So obviously we probably both exist, but either way, he physically came down and wanted to scope it out. But then, anyways, so what else here? Oh yeah, last thing here. How can we skip here? How can we skip Abraham interceding for Sodom? So he's talking about sparing the place. So even though he's specifically pointing out the righteous, like, hey, you're not going to kill the righteous too, right? That's not okay. And but he's talking about sparing the entire place, because Abraham loves people, and he probably had some sort of connection to them. He went and got all their stuff back when they were taken to captivity in Genesis 14, right? He already saved them once. Maybe he's like, I'll save them again, and I'll intercede for them. But that's the kind of hearts we should have. At least that they would like turn. Here in 2 Ezra 7, it talks about this situation, and it concludes that the righteous people should pray for the weak, or the strong should pray for the weak. I answered and said, how often do we find that first Abraham prayed for the people of Sodom, and Moses for our fathers who sinned in the desert, and Joshua after him for Israel in the days of Achan, and Samuel in the days of Saul, David for the plague, Solomon for those in the sanctuary, and Elijah for those who received the rain, and for the one who was dead that he might live, and Hezekiah for the people in the days of Sennacherib, and many others prayed for many. If therefore the righteous have prayed for the ungodly now, when corruption has increased and unrighteousness has multiplied, why will it not be so then as well? He answered and said to me, this present world is not the end. The full glory does not abide in it. Therefore, those who were strong prayed for the weak. But in the day of judgment, it will be as the end of this age and the beginning of the immortal age to come, in which corruption has passed away. Sinful indulgence has come to an end. Unbelief has been cut off, and righteousness has increased, and truth has appeared. Therefore, no one will then be able to have mercy on him who has been condemned in the judgment, or to harm him who is victorious. But the point here is that those who were strong prayed for the weak. And that's what we have with Abraham. The strong prayed for the weak. And that's the kind of people we need to be. Furthermore, in 2 Ezra 2, it says, guard the rights of the widow, secure justice for the fatherless, give to the needy, defend the orphan, clothe the naked, care for the injured and the weak. Do not ridicule a lame man. Protect the maimed. Let the blind man have a vision of my splendor. Protect the old and young within your walls. And when you find any who are dead, commit them to the grave and mark it, and I'll give you the first place in my resurrection. As I was reading this, I was thinking about how Jonah was so disappointed when Yah's like spared the place. You know, because Jonah's like, you know, he's probably mad. He's like, these are the people that rape and pillage your people. Like, let them die. Let them die. And Yah was like, what's your deal? Like, are you mad that I spared 185,000 people that don't even know their right hand from their left? And perhaps that was kind of the heart and sentiments of Abraham, was like, these people are just lost. They just need to know the way. You know, maybe if I go down there and teach the way, maybe they'll learn. Maybe they'll turn, you know, maybe. And I think that's just the kind of people we need to be. Versus, I'm not going to sit here and judge Jonah. Probably still a more righteous man than me. But nevertheless, we do see that Jonah had the wrong attitude. And not to judge Jonah, but to learn and to do better. And so I want to have the heart of Yah, and the heart of Yah is like, they're blind, they don't know anything. And what's it to you if I have mercy on them? So we should probably always lead off with mercy and forgiveness. But, you know, if there's pride and haughtiness and resistance to that, then, you know, okay, then so be it. That's kind of what you see later on in the Torah when Israel was basically going over to take all the nations. They first would declare peace to it. And if they would accept the terms, then let them all live. But if not, you destroy the city. And so I guess that's kind of what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. And at least what Abraham was going for. And what I really love is that, I mean, Yahweh can be reasoned with. You see this here. It's almost like this negotiation, but he's like, okay, yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Same thing with Hezekiah. Yahweh tells, was it Isaiah, right? Go tell Hezekiah to get his house in order. He's going to die. And Hezekiah's like, you know, and pours his heart out. And Yahweh's like, all right, I'll give you another 15 years. Hallelujah. I like that kind of reasoning. I like that he can be reasoned with. That's awesome. Makes him a lot more relatable. You know, that it's not just like a robot program. Like, nope, this does not equate. Out. Like, okay, that's a reasonable request. I hear you. Done. Like, we'll see here. Lot's like, can you just let me go to Zoar? It's just a little thing. Can I go there? I'm like, all right. Yeah, fine. Wow, cool. Angels can be reasoned with. Cool. All right, let's go to Genesis 19.
Bereshit, Genesis chapter 19. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said,
Behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early, and go on your ways.
And they said,
Nay, but we will abide in the street all night.
And he pressed upon them greatly. And they turned in unto him, and entered into the house. And he made them a feast, and did bake matzah, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot, and said unto him,
Where are the men which came into you this night? Bring them out unto us,
that we may know them.
And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said,
I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold now, I have 2 daughters, which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof.
And they said,
Stand back.
and they said again,
This one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will need to be a judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them.
And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand, and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said unto Lot,
Have you here any besides son-in-law, and your sons, and your daughters, and whatsoever you have in the city, bring them out of this place, for we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of YHWH, and YHWH has sent us to destroy it.
And Lot went out, and spoke unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said,
Up, get you out of this place, for YHWH will destroy this city.
But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying,
Arise, take your woman and your 2 daughters which are here, lest you be consumed in the iniquity of the city.
And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his woman, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, YHWH being merciful unto him. And they brought him forth, and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said,
Escape for your life, look not behind you, neither stay in all the circle of the Yarden. Escape to the mountain, lest you be consumed.
And Lot said unto them,
Oh, not so, my Adonai. Behold, now your servant has found grace in your sight, and you have magnified your mercy, which you have showed unto me in saving my life. I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me, and I die. Behold now, this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape hither. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live.
and he said unto him,
See, I have accepted you concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for which you have spoken. Make haste, escape hither, for I cannot do anything till you are come hither.
Therefore, the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then YHWH rained upon Sodom and upon Amorah brimstone and fire from YHWH out of the heavens. And he overthrew those cities, and all the circle of the Yarden, and all the inhabitants of those cities, and that which grew upon the ground. But his woman looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before YHWH, and he looked toward Sodom and Amorah, and toward all the land of the circle of the Yarden, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when Elohim destroyed the cities of the circle of the Yarden, that Elohim remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot dwelt. And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him, for he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters. And the firstborn said unto the younger,
Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father.
And they made their father drink wine that night. And the firstborn went in, and lay with her father. And he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow, that the firstborn said unto the younger,
Behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also, and go in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father.
And they made their father drink wine that night also. And the younger arose and lay with him. And he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. And the firstborn bore a son, and called his name Moab. The same is the father of the Moabim unto this day. And the younger, she also bore a son, and called his name Ben-Ammi. The same is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day.
Okay, so obviously pretty rough ending here to Genesis 19, especially for anybody. That's just not okay, father and daughters. At the same time, I'm not giving any excuse to this, but just at least from their perspective, they thought literally everybody died. They thought that they were the lone survivors. You don't even have to go into Jasher. It expounds that a little more. But nevertheless, that was the understanding they had, is that everyone was dead. And so they were thinking, they had at least in their mind, they thought they were being righteous by, we got to repopulate the earth. And so, anyways, so obviously pretty weird. And there's something here, though, also with the connection. We've been talking about Moab. In my opinion, end times Moab is America. And there's something there with like an inbred child relative to Israel. There's just something there. I don't know. But anyways, let's going back to Sodom and Gomorrah. The Sodom and Gomorrah is the exact opposite of Abraham. And when you look through Jasher, these people a stranger came in, they would play like sick games, like give them some money, but everyone would have a pact to not sell them any food. So they'd go to a place and no one would take it and end up starving to death, and then they'd take the money back. And they had sick games like that, like putting people on beds and either pushing them together or stretching them out, and of course taking wives, and all sorts of crazy laws. And it was just a demented place. And I'll tell you, there's some places in America, you walk down the wrong alley and you're getting treated like this. So have we fully reached that Sodom and Gomorrah where the entire town is trying to lay with, maybe not. Will it ever be that condensed again? I don't know. Maybe you just keep letting things go the way they go, and maybe they'll eventually get there. But we're, even growing up in the Los Angeles area myself, I know you go to the wrong areas, and you can get treated the opposite of Abraham in some of those neighborhoods. And I've been out of LA area for 20 plus years, and just visiting once in a while, it definitely feels like not a foreign country. What does that even mean? It definitely feels like a Sodom and Gomorrah, if you will. But anyways, so what's interesting about this, of course, is Peter in 2 Peter calls Lot a righteous man, and then he's venerated as a righteous man. And I'm thinking to myself, I have daughters, and I don't know that I could honestly look at the scenario where he offered up his daughters. Now, some people would say it was an easy bet because they were having homosexual advances towards these angels, and that no women would satisfy them. And maybe that's the case. But, I haven't read from the writings of Abraham this Torah portion cycle, but maybe worth your read, because at least that version of this exact same scenario, Lot does not offer up his daughters. As a matter of fact, has a lot more manly things to say, to which seems more likely to someone at least venerated as a righteous man later on in history. Because, I don't know. There's other ways to deal with an unruly multitude other than giving your 2 daughters up. Like, there's just so many other options before you even remotely come to that. And so just want to say it's possible there could have been some tampering here, someone that want to maybe manipulate the Bible in some small places to seed some unrighteous thoughts, or I don't know. It's possible. But again, the writings of Abraham, basically, Lot does not offer up his daughters and takes more of a stand against the men and says righteous things. And so, I don't know. Just a thought there, because I just want to make mention when we read the Torah, there's things we glean and there's things we're like, we don't ever do that. And I just want to make mention, we don't do this right here. Don't do that. It may not have how it went down anyways, is my point. But this is, even if it did go down this way, this is not how it's done. Maybe like offering yourself up or something. Like, fine, you want that, me but first before them, because you ain't getting them, and you ain't getting me either. Not in that kind of way. Anyways, all right. So you see the angels, negotiating, right? Or you see Lot negotiating, like, hey, can I go to this one place? And here it is, Zohar again. There's just something here that I'm going to dig into at some point. But in Ezekiel 7, you have a very, very similar fleeing like Lot, because Messiah does say that the end times will be like the days of Lot. And remember Lot's wife. The angels are like, here is specific instructions. Don't look back. And she's like, looks back, and then boom. Ezekiel 7:5, thus says YHWH, and evil, and only evil, behold, is come. An end is come, the end is come. It watches for you, behold, it is come. The morning is come unto you, O you that dwell in the land. So remember, this destruction in Sodom came as morning arose. O you that dwell in the land, the time is come, the day of trouble is near, and not the sounding again of the mountains. Now will I shortly pour out my fury upon thee, and accomplish mine anger upon you, and I will judge you according to your ways, and will recompense you for all your abominations. And mine eye shall not spare, neither will I have pity. I will recompense you according to your ways and your abominations that are in the midst of you, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh that smites. Behold the day, behold it is come. The morning is gone forth, the rod has blossomed, pride has budded. Violence is risen up into a rod of wickedness. None of them shall remain, nor their multitude, nor any of theirs, neither shall there be wailing for them. So this is, in my opinion, this is that final destruction over that land. The time has come, the day draws near, let not the buyer rejoice, nor the seller mourn, for wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. For the seller shall not return to that which is sold, although they were yet alive. For the vision is touching the whole multitude thereof, which shall not return. Neither shall any strengthen himself in the iniquity of his life. They have blown the trumpet, even to make all ready, but none goes to the battle. For my wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. The sword is without, the pestilence and famine within, and he that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. But they that escape of them shall escape, and shall be on the mountains like doves of the valleys, all of them mourning, everyone for his iniquities. And this is what happened with Lot and his daughters. They escaped right into the mountains, and you had this. So this is like a Sodom type of repeat here, parallel. And so in previous, I don't know if this Torah portion cycle we talked about it, but Deuteronomy 29 basically says that Jerusalem is going to be destroyed one more time, and it's going to be like in a Sodom and Gomorrah fashion where the entire land is destroyed. And then furthermore, in Ezekiel 21, it says the sword is doubled the third time, and that the warning is to flee because all flesh, righteous and wicked, shall be cut off. And this is why Yahusha in Luke 21 says, when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then flee for the desolation of is nigh. Flee to the mountains, right? It's got that Sodom and Gomorrah vibe to it there, like what we just saw with Lot. So, anyways, so this is the destruction. It's supposed to be a remembrance forever. This place is still here today. You still see windows and doors, and you still see city wall. It's like encased, and and this is like supposed to be like a witness forever, and to know that the one that's coming to the land of Israel, the state of Israel right now, if you will, the synagogue of Satan, it's coming, and it's gonna be even bigger, because that's what Yahweh declared. You know, maybe we can be like Abraham and pray that he'd spare. But in Jeremiah, he says, I will not change my mind. I will not turn back. So, I don't know. Do you still pray against something he already said he would not change and turn back from? I don't know. So, I just want to make sure my heart is right in the matter. I'm not excited about millions of people losing their lives, being destroyed. But nevertheless, sin has its consequences. Rebellion, stiff-necked, his blood be on us and our children statements, they have lasting effects. Luke 17:26, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But in the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. In that day he which shall be on the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down and take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Remember Lot's wife. Don't turn back, y'all. We can't ever go back. We can't ever turn back, even spiritually. Think about this. In another place, Messiah said, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of heaven. So we can't go back. We can't look back at our old ways, our old lives. We can't come out of Christmas and then kind of well, I really miss my family, and I can reach them, and we'll understand, and stop. Don't look back. Stay there. Put your hand on the plow. Be encouraged. This walk can be lonely. It can feel like a wilderness experience. It can feel like you're alone. But go back to Genesis 15. Is Yahweh your exceeding reward or not? Is he everything or not? Is he the most important? I don't want to end up like Sodom and Gomorrah, y'all. Anyways. So, yeah. And we don't want to end up like this either. So let's go to Genesis 20.
Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 20. And Abraham journeyed from thence toward the country of the Negev, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah his woman,
She is my sister.
And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent, and took Sarah. But Elohim came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him,
Behold, you are but a dead man, for the woman which you have taken, for she is a man's woman.
But Abimelech had not come near her. And he said,
Adonai, will you slay also a righteous nation? Said he not unto me, She is my sister? And she, even she herself said, He is my brother? In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands have I done this.
And Elohim said unto him in a dream,
Yea, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, for I also withheld you from sinning against me. Therefore suffered I you not to touch her. Now therefore restore the man his woman, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for you, and you shall live, And if you restore her not, know you that you shall surely die, you and all that are yours.
Therefore Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told all these things in their ears. And the men were sore afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said unto him,
What have you done unto us, and what have I offended you, that you have brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? You have done deeds unto me that ought not to be done.
And Abimelech said unto Abraham,
What saw you that you have done this thing?
And Abraham said,
Because I thought surely the fear of Elohim is not in this place, and they will slay me for my woman's sake. And yet indeed she is my sister, she is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my woman. And it came to pass, when Elohim caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said unto her, This is your kindness which you shall show unto me. At every place whither we shall come, say of me, He is my brother.
And Abimelech took sheep and oxen and men servants and women servants, and gave them unto Abraham, and restored him Sarah his woman. And Abimelech said,
Behold, my land is before you. Dwell where it pleases you.
And unto Sarah he said,
Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, he is to you a covering of the eyes, unto all that are with you, and with all other.
Thus she was reproved. So Abraham prayed unto Elohim, and Elohim healed Abimelech, and his woman, and his maidservants, and they bore children. For YHWH had fast closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech, because of Sarah, Abraham's woman.
Yah loves his people. He protects his people. Hallelujah. There's some verses I want to share in regards to that. John 15:5, right? I am the vine, you are the branches. He that abides in me and I in him, the same brings forth fruit. For without me you can do nothing. But the point here is, of course, this is the symbology that we're that vineyard when we abide in him. Isaiah 27, in that day YHWH with his sore and great strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. In that day sing ye unto her a vineyard of red wine. So this is his people. I, YHWH, do keep it. I will water it every moment, lest any hurt it. I will keep it night and day. So fury is not in me. Who would set the briars and thorns against me in battle? I would go through them. I would burn them together. Or let him take hold of my strength, that he may make peace with me, and he shall make peace with me. So it's like, let him take hold of my Torah, that he may make shalom with me, and he shall make shalom with me. He shall cause them that come of Jacob to take root. Israel shall blossom and bud and fill the face of the world with fruit. Hallelujah. So it's like YHWH protects in the last days, right? He's going to protect his people. He's going to water it, and he's going to protect it lest any hurt it. Psalm 105:6, O ye seed of Abraham his servant, you children of Jacob his chosen. He is YHWH Elohim, his judgments are in all the earth. He has remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations, which covenant he made with Abraham, and his oath unto Isaac, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant, saying, Unto you will I give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance. When they were but a few men in number, yea, very few strangers in it, when they went from one nation to another, and one kingdom to another people, he suffered no man to do them wrong. Yea, he reproved kings for their sake, saying, Touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets no harm. Moreover, he called for a famine upon the land, and he broke the whole staff of bread. And so, these are some of these promises given to the seed of Abraham, Genesis 49, also through Mashiach and through the house of David. It says, or maybe that was it Numbers? Oops. Anyways, I forgot what the address was. Blesses he that blesses you, and curses he that curses you. Nevertheless, we know that prophecy's out there. And so at some point, all this is going to come to fruition. And at some point, Yahweh is going to reestablish the house, Abraham's house. He prophesies about that in Jeremiah somewhere. Is it Jeremiah 30 or 30? I think 33. Towards the end. He says, thus says Yahweh, if my covenant be not with day and night, which we know it still is right now, and if I have not appointed the ordinances of heaven and earth, then will I cast away the seed of Jacob and David my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed, so we're his seed right now, and so he can take some of us to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For I will cause their captivity return and have mercy on them. So this is going to happen at some point. I believe that we're on the cusp of that. It's kind of what I was saying. Someone had kind of prophesied at the beginning of this. And so I believe we're at the cusp of this. I believe that we're at the turning of things. This last feast of unleavened bread, we saw some amazing deliverances. We saw people that by self-admittance had demonic oppression on them. We just did what the master said. We anointed with oil, we prayed, and in countenances restored, being baptized and being new creations. And we're like, whoa, he really has given us authority over these spirits. Now, there was no foaming at the mouth. There was no screaming. There was no bobbling on the floor. There was no neon green vomit and snot. There wasn't that. There wasn't none of that. It was just, they left. The presence left. The person was baptized and like a new person. Wow. Okay. We saw 2 houses divided, families that almost seemed impossible. The fellowship had helped mediate for almost a year. It wasn't going anywhere. And then in the midst of the feast, there's just deliverance and there's restoration happening. You're like, whoa, it was like Red Sea impossible. Well, he's doing some stuff here in the end. So, anyways, I believe we're at the cusp of things turning around for his people. Call me hopeful, maybe, but I believe we are. All right, so let's go to chapter 21, and we're getting towards the end of the Torah portion now. We got all the way through 25. We're still trucking. We got some time to go. All right, so Genesis 21.
Bereshit, Genesis chapter 21. And Yahweh visited Sarah as he had said, and Yahweh did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which Elohim had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bore to him, Yitzchak. And Abraham circumcised his son Yitzchak, being 8 days old, as Elohim had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old, when his son Yitzchak was born unto him. And Sarah said,
Elohim has made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me.
And she said,
Who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age.
And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast, the same day that Yitzchak was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Mitzrayim, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham,
Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Yitzhak.
And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And Elohim said unto Abraham,
Let it not be grievous in your sight because of the lad, and because of your bondwoman. In all that Sarah has said unto you, hearken unto her voice. For in Yitzhak shall your seed be called. And also the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is your seed.
And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and took bread and a bottle of water, and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, and the child, and sent her away. And she departed, and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. And she went, and sat her down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot. For she said,
Let me not see the death of the child.
And she sat over against him, and lift up her voice and wept. And Elohim heard the voice of the lad. And the angel of Elohim called unto Hagar out of the heavens, and said unto her,
What ails you, Hagar? Fear not, for Elohim has heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in your hand, for I will make him a great nation.
And Elohim opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the bottle with water, and gave the lad drink. And Elohim was with the lad, and he grew, and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a woman out of the land of Mitzrayim. And it came to pass at that time, that Abimelech and Pichol, the chief captain of his host, spoke unto Abraham, saying,
Elohim is with you in all that you do. Now therefore swear unto me here by Elohim, that you will not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto you, you shall do unto me, and to the land wherein you have sojourned.
And Abraham said,
I will swear.
And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said,
I know not who has done this thing, neither did you tell me, neither yet heard I of it, but today.
And Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them unto Abimelech, and both of them cut a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham,
What mean these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves?
And he said,
For these 7 ewe lambs shall you take off my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have dug this well.
Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because there they swore both of them. Thus they cut a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech rose up, and Pichol, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of the Pelishtim. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and called thereon the name of Yahweh, El Olam. And Abraham sojourned in the Pelishtim's land many days.
Okay, you see it here. The seed of Abraham, if you're like Abraham, you don't just bury issues, you deal with them, right? You don't just hide from issues. You don't just like the world. Like the world is always about just cutting people out of your lives. Not everything, but a lot of things are now funneled into the narcissist category, and they just tell you to cut off narcissists out of your life. And so typically the advice is like, someone brings strife or issue into your life, and you just, they're narcissist, and you just cut them out. That's definitely not the way of Yah, definitely not the way of Messiah. Here Abraham just has an issue, and they deal with it. So this did not need to get into a narcissist rabbit trail here. But the point here is the seed of Abraham do the deeds of Abraham, and Abraham surfaces issues and deals with them, and then you can move on. Because when you don't deal with issues, it's this constant nagging, or it's like a constant drip. The book of Proverbs talks about a continual dripping. It's like a constant leak, or it's like that fire smoke alarm where you just don't change the batteries, and you're like, well, I'm gonna eventually change the batteries, but it keeps chirping at you for like a month, and you're like, I'm eventually gonna change that, but that chirp annoys you. But it's like, why don't you just get up and change it right now? Because it's so annoying. That's how easy it is with issues, right? You just deal with it, and then it's like you can have that freedom in your mind. Until it's dealt with, it's just there. And so people have these compounding hurts until it's just like it's a mountain. Anyway, so deal with your issues, especially in marriages, friendships. Real friendships isn't always about agreeing about everything, but it is when there's disagreements or whatever, or hurts, you deal with them. And there's apologies, and there's you correct the issues. There's not a hardening of the heart. There's a softening, and there's apologies, and you get it out. Because if you just keep it in there, it's just gonna get tucked away, and it's just gonna worsen and worsen, and just separate. And Messiah prayed we'd all be as one. So we got to figure that out. But also there's a reference in Jasher. Long story short, Ishmael was threatening Isaac's life. Isaac had broke one of Ishmael's arrows, and Ishmael drew the bow at Isaac, and Sarah saw it, and she was like, "Get him out of here!" And anyways, just some context. It seemed like Sarah might have been a little overly harsh, but further investigation, there might actually been a physical threat, and she, anyways. But Ishmael, the Arab nation's great nation, population is just massive. What is this? Look at the population. 500 million almost. And of course, this is mostly the Muslim nations. And maybe it says, one day, and when Yah's kingdom is restored, the remnant of these people will turn and serve Yahweh. Maybe one of those nations that comes up every year to celebrate Sukkot, or else. But yeah. There's not much else I want to say. We're going to keep moving. We're going to go to the big one, chapter 22. Of course, this is what they call the binding of Isaac, the offering up of Isaac. And so this is big stuff. So let's go here.
Bereshit, Genesis chapter 22. And it came to pass after these things that Elohim did try Abraham, and said unto him,
Avraham.
And he said,
Behold, here I am.
And he said,
Take now your son, your Yachid, Yitzhak, whom you love, and get you into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains, which I will tell you of.
And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Yitzhak his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went unto the place of which Elohim had told him. Then on the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men,
Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder, and worship, and come again to you.
And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Yitzhak his son. And he took the fire in his hand, and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Yitzhak spoke unto Abraham his father, and said,
My father.
And he said,
Here am I, my son.
And he said,
Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?
And Abraham said,
My son, Elohim will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering.
So they went both of them together. And they came to the place which Elohim had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Yitzhak his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of Yahweh called unto him out of the heavens, and said,
Avraham, Avraham.
And he said,
Here am I.
And he said,
Lay not your hand upon the lad, neither do you anything unto him. For now I know that you fear Elohim, seeing you have not withheld your son, your Yachid, from me.
And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram, and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. And Abraham called the name of that place Yahweh Yireh, as it is said to this day, In the mount of Yahweh it shall be seen. And the angel of Yahweh called unto Abraham out of the heavens the 2nd time, and said,
By myself have I sworn, says Yahuwah, for because you have done this thing, and have not withheld your son, your Yachid, that in blessing I will bless you, and in multiplying I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and your seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in your seed
shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice.
So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba. And Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying,
Behold, Milcah, she has also borne children unto your brother Nahor, Uz his firstborn, and Buz his brother, and Kemuel the father of Aram, and Kesed, and Hazo, and Pildash, and Yidlaph, and Bethuel.
And Bethuel begat Rivkah. These 8 Milcah did bear to Nahor, Abraham's brother, and his concubine, whose name was Reumah. She bore also Teva, and Gaham, and Tahash, and Ma'akah.
Okay. Well, obviously one of the most memorable scenes in the entire Bible here. Obviously a foreshadow of Yahweh giving up his only son, that whoever may believes on him may have everlasting life. Not perish, but have everlasting life. Just some of you, most of you may know this, but just in case, not remembering. So Moriah, right? We just read in Genesis 22. This is where Abraham offered Isaac, or was about to. Later on, the exact same place, David, after receiving a prophetic word from Gad, his prophet, selected the future site of the temple on Mount Moriah. So same place is where that happened with Isaac. Later, Elohim chose Solomon to build a temple. It was right there in the same place, Moriah, building on the threshing floor. And then, of course, this is also where Yahusha was crucified, on Mount Moriah. So, obviously, an important deal there, an important thread. And, I just think about also just Abraham just being so willing and patient. And Sirach 2 says, my son, if you come forward to serve Yahweh, prepare yourself for temptation or trials or tests, just like Abraham, or the seed of Abraham, right? Set your heart right and be steadfast, and do not be hasty in time of calamity. Cleave to him and do not depart, that you may be honored at the end of your life. Accept whatever is brought upon you, and in changes that humble you be patient. So this is Abraham stuff, right? For gold is tested in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of humiliation. Trust in him, and he will help you make your way straight, and hope in him. So good advice, especially as we move into the next Torah portion. When Sarah dies, if you piece it together, at least through the chronology, through the canon and Jasher, you'll see that Abraham actually never ends up seeing Sarah again. After he departs from Sarah with Isaac, they never see each other again. And you don't ever see any kind of hastiness from Abraham or ill tongue. But kind of like when Aaron's sons died in the wilderness, it said he held his peace. He didn't say a word. He wasn't about to, say a word against Yahweh. And, Abraham could have been like, I just was about to offer up my son, and, now I don't see my wife, and she's dead. Like, what's up? It's super not fair. You don't see that at all. And so he took whatever came upon him in patience and with humility. So let us, whatever trial comes our way, hopefully we don't have the extreme trials that Abraham did, and let those be extreme examples, just like we hope none of us hope to ever have to experience what Job did, but that maybe we could look at their example and learn the lessons we need to learn. So remember, deeds of Abraham. And so think about the whole point of life, really, for Abraham culminated to wanting a son, and he got it. And he had to give up. He was tested with giving up the very thing that he wanted the most. So obviously, this is probably cliche and overused all the time, but it doesn't change the very fact that it's given for us as an example that whatever Abba calls us to show that he's most important in our lives, we'll have the time to either meet the challenge or fail. And I pray that all of us meet the challenge regardless of how painful it is. This would have been obviously extremely painful. And, people lose a lot of things coming to this walk. That's why Messiah even says, if you love mother or father or son or daughter more than me, you're not worthy of me. That's Abraham stuff. So it's for me and my house. Like I said before at the beginning of this, my wife, my children, are just some of the most important things in the world to me. This assembly, what he's done here, but he's first. He's number one. And it has to be that way. It gets to be that way. It's the only way. And if ultimately you see that if you do that, he has got your back. So it's just like a test. So patience, right? Patience. Just a reminder, you're praying for something and not getting an answer. Just keep going. You've got the parable of the persistent widow in Luke 18. Read that again if you need a reminder. Messiah basically tells us a neat story that if you keep praying, isn't your Father going to answer you eventually? So also to keep our cool like Abraham and do as we're called. Hear the call and move and act. Move, act. So, I mean, think about it. You don't think Abraham and Sarah prayed for a couple of years, dozens of years for this child? And, just very thankful. John 3:14, and as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For Elohim sent not his Son in the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believes on him is not condemned, but he that believes not is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of Elohim. So is the great struggle in the world to confess a name, like whatever you think that name is? And is that the great trial? Like, you said it. Good job. You can now just do as thou wilt. Ultimately, in different ways, that's disseminated. And this is the condemnation that light is coming to the world. Proverbs 6:23 does tell us that Torah is light. So this is a condemnation that light or Torah or instructions come into the world. Basically, the guidebook that says what's good and what's evil. So that's coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than Torah, light, because their deeds were evil. Doesn't that make sense? For everyone that does evil hates the Torah, neither comes to the Torah, lest his deeds should be reproved. And that's ultimately what you do when you read the Torah, and he says, this is my standard, and you look at your life, and you're like, you can either be like, well, whatever, I want to do what I want to do. Or you're like, I want to be in alignment. I want to be in alignment with you. I want to dwell in your house forever. You have house rules. I want to keep your rules. This is what you like. I want to like what you like. I want to hate what you hate. I want to be who you want me to be. I want to be conformed to the image of your Son. So that's what happens when you read the Torah. But everyone that does evil hates the light, doesn't even come to it, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that does the truth comes to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in Elohim. Exodus 34:5-8, the name. And Yahweh descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of Yahweh. Here it is. And Yahweh passed by before him and proclaimed Yahweh, Yahweh Elohim. Here it is. This is the name. Merciful, gracious, long-suffering, abundant in goodness and truth. Truth, regardless of what they told you, your law is the truth, period. That it is. So the name of Yahweh is basically spirit and truth. The fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, long-suffering, goodness, self-control. And yes, the check marks of the law. You can degrade it however you want and mock it however you want and just say it's just whatever, or it's just fleshly, or no. This is the house rules of Yahweh. This is how to govern one's entire life, and also instructions if one were to have a government, how to have Yah's government. It's all written there. Priests, kings, sanitation, observances, national holidays, everything. Everything's there. How to handle financials, how to do financial resets, how to forgive debts. Everything's there. How to have judicial order. What's right, what's wrong, it's all there. An entire civilization structure, at least the basic structure, the outline is all there. And so, anyways, That's believing in the name of the only begotten Son. It's not just saying Jesus or even Yahusha. What a shallow faith that even some people in Torah believe, that the great struggle is to figure out his name's not Jesus and just say Yeshua or Yahshua or Yahusha, and then bam, now you've got it. That was just the beginning, y'all. That was just the beginning of the lies they sold us, that his name was started with a J, or that his name is God or Lord. Oh wait, he actually has a name? That's just the beginning. That is just a little tester to see where you'll go with from there. Do you want to learn more, or are you going to get hung up and beat everyone around because they don't know his name? Boy, a lot of people are failing on that one. And if that's you right now, you got time to repent. Do it. Genesis 23. All right, so now we're into the last Torah portion. 23, 1 through 25, 18. This is Chaye Sarah, life of Sarah, or death of Sarah, if you will. So offering up, just to finish up, obviously a pattern. Abraham being like the father and Isaac being the promised one. And then Yahusha, of course, he said he has a father. What exactly that deity dynamic looks like, I don't know. I do know that our Messiah is the God of Israel, the one that Israel married and had to come and die and pick his bride back up. And I know that's what I know. And but the pattern there, of course, that Yah gave his only son, just like Abraham was called to but didn't have to because a substitute was given. Yahusha is that substitute. Yahusha is that substitute for us. That's the pattern, at least I understand. I know people have a problem with whatever that scholarly term is, that Yahusha paid our penalty, but not everything in Christianity is wrong. The blood of Christ still covers us, still forgives us. I'm not straying away from that. I'm not going to become that kind of heretic. All right, Genesis 23:1. Let's get to it. And praise Allah.
Bereshit, Genesis chapter 23. And Sarah was 107 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kiryat Arba, the same is in Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spoke unto the sons of Heth, saying,
I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight.
And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him,
Hear us, my lord. You are a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres bury your dead. None of us shall withhold from you his sepulchre, but that you may bury your dead.
And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth. And he communed with them, saying,
If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and entreat from me to Ephron, the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he has, which is in the end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me, for a possession of a burying place amongst you.
And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth. And Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even all that went in the gate of his city, saying,
Nay, my lord, hear me. The field I give you, and the cave that is therein I give it you. In the presence of the sons of my people give I it you. Bury your dead.
And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land. And he spoke unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying,
But if you will give it, I pray you, hear me. I will give you money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there.
And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him,
My lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and you? Bury therefore your dead.
And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron. And Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver, which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant. And the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all the borders round about, were made sure unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of his city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah his woman in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, the same as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for a possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth.
Okay. Just a couple of notes here. Again, for deeper study, I've got lots of references here for more on Sarah. Really the Sarah you never saw. Honestly, it's worth the read, but just for time's sake, we're not going to get into all the Jasher portions today, or this week, or this year. But I wanted to make mention, when you look back, going back to Genesis 10 and Genesis 11, looking at all the generations after the flood, it was basically like a whole restart, right? And then all the nations started multiplying, and it's just like, out of all those people, out of all the generations, all the different nations, he selected Abraham. So again, it's like, you have to look at Abraham and be like, y'all could have chose anybody. But this is the characteristic. Like if Abraham was so if Abba looked at all the plants of the world, he's like, this is the one I want to take, and I want others to be like it. So we look at Abraham and his dealing with even a wicked nation. He was still kind. He was still considerate. He was even overly meticulous with his financial transaction. Versus, again, growing up in mainstream Judaism, there's lots of different back and forth about dealings with Gentiles. And so at the end of the day, they are treated like lesser, and it's almost like there may even be some room given through the Talmud and the different rabbinic interpretations that there might even be a loose obligation for having just balances with other nations to be treated like lesser than people and things like that. And that's not the way of Abraham. I don't really want to dwell on that, honestly. But the way of Abraham is equal weights and measures, just balances, kind of like the Good Samaritan stuff, where it's like you had that person that was injured, and you had the priest, and you had the Levite, and they're like, yeah, right, I'm not helping. And then you had the Samaritans who was like, I'm going to help you, And Messiah's like, this is the kind of people I want you to be, It's like a new way of thinking. It's like, who cares? Okay, yes, so what? Like, you have these mega corporations and Walmarts and stuff. Like, still, I want to be meticulous to the penny with them. That's just the understanding I have of being like Abraham, is being completely honest. And they were even willing to give it to him. It was like, no, what it's worth, So, anyways, just want to make mention of that. And I think little threads like this that we should pick up along the way. That this is the Torah. This is the kind of characteristics of the people he wants us to be. Because again, Messiah said, if you're the seed of Abraham, you'll do the deeds of Abraham. And we know that Paul said those who are in Messiah and been baptized into him have become the seed of Abraham, and the seed of Abraham is Israel. And so if we're going to be in the similitude of the father of the faith, we really need to look at these little things that are big things. And he even bowed before them. And bowed to the people. And so he's not like bowing down like in servitude, but this is probably more of like an honorable, like kind of like how the Asian countries do, like that kind of gesture is how I understand this. Not like he wasn't like lowering himself to like, oh, I serve you. No. So obviously just respect. And so it's like, if we're going to make converts, how can we make converts if we're like not even respectful people? If we're not kind, if we're not gentle, if we're just a bunch of like rude people, Abraham could have been like, hey, Yah gave me hey, I'm Abraham. Yah gave me this place for a possession. You guys aren't even the real owners. I actually own this place. This is my place. Yeah, thank you for giving it to me. Sure, I'll take it. Thank you. Or you could have just been rough or rude or brash, but he's not. He's kind. He's gentle. He's nice. Now, when people cross the line, hence Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah, and basically, Abraham and his servants going taking care of business. There's a time and season for different things. But overall, just like Messiah overall was calm, cool, collected. When it was time, he got the whip out. But that wasn't all the time. That was a very small portion of his time. So, all right, 24.
Bereshit, Genesis chapter 24. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and Yahweh had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had,
Put, I pray you, your hand under my thigh, and I will make you swear by Yahweh, the Elohai of heaven and the Elohai of the earth, that you shall not take a woman unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanim, among whom I dwell. But you shall go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a woman unto my son Yitzhak.
And the servant said unto him,
Perchance the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring your son again unto the land from whence you came?
And Abraham said unto him,
Beware that you bring not my son thither again. Yahuwah Elohai of heaven, which took me from my father's house, and from the land of my kindred, and which spoke unto me, and that swore unto me, saying, Unto your seed will I give this land. He shall send his angel before you, and you shall take a woman unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow you, then you shall be clear from this my oath. Only bring not my son thither again.
And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning that matter. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and departed, for all the goods of his master were in his hand. And he arose and went to Aram Naharaim, unto the city of Nahor. And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, even the time that women go out to draw water. And he said,
O Yahuwah Elohai of my master Abraham, I pray you, send me good speed this day, and show kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. And let it come to pass, that the damsel to whom I shall say, Let down your pitcher, I pray you, that I may drink. And she shall say, Drink, and I will give your camels drink also. Let the same be she that you have appointed for your servant Yitzhak. And thereby shall I know that you have showed kindness unto my master.
And it came to pass, before he had done speaking, that behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the woman of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulder. And the damsel was very fair to look upon, a virgin, neither had any man known her. And she went down to the well and filled her pitcher, and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said,
Let me, I pray you, drink a little water of your pitcher.
And she said,
Drink, my lord.
And she hastened, and let down her pitcher upon her hand, and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said,
I will draw water for your camels also, until they have done drinking.
And she hastened, and emptied her pitcher into the trough, and ran again unto the well to draw water, and drew for all his camels. And the man, wondering at her, held his peace, to wit whether Yahweh had made his journey prosperous or not. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden earring of 1/2 shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold, and said,
Whose daughter are you? Tell me, I pray you, is there room in your father's house for us to lodge in?
And she said unto him,
I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, which she bore unto Nahor.
And she said moreover unto him,
We have both straw and provender enough, and room to lodge in.
And the man bowed down his head and worshipped Yahweh. And he said,
Blessed be Yahuwah Elohai of my master Avraham, who has not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I, being in the way, Yahuwah led me to the house of my master's brethren.
And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house of these things. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran unto the man, unto the well. And it came to pass, when he saw the earring and the bracelets upon his sister's hands, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying,
Thus spoke the man unto me.
that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well. And he said,
Come in, you blessed of Yahuwah. Wherefore stand you without? For I have prepared the house and room for the camels.
And the man came into the house, and he ungirded his camels, and gave straw and provender for the camels, and water to wash his feet, and the men's feet that were with him. And there was set meat before him to eat, but he said,
I will not eat until I have told my errand.
And he said,
Speak on.
And he said,
I am Avraham's servant, and Yahuwah has blessed my master greatly, and he has become great. And he has given him flocks and herds, and silver and gold, and menservants and maidservants, and camels and asses. And Sarah, my master's woman, bore a son to my master when she was old, and unto him has he given all that he has. And my master made me swear, saying, You shall not take a woman to my son of the daughters of the Canaanim, in whose land I dwell, but you shall go unto my father's house, and to my kindred, and take a woman unto my son. And I said unto my master, Perchance the woman will not follow me. And he said unto me, Yahuwah, before whom I walk, will send his angel with you, and prosper your way. And you shall take a woman for my son of my kindred, and of my father's house. Then shall you be clear from this my oath, when you come to my kindred, and if they give not you one, you shall be clear from my oath. And I came this day unto the well, and said, O Yahuwah Elohai, of my master Avraham, if now you do prosper my way which I go, behold, I stand by the well of water. And it shall come to pass, that when the virgin comes forth to draw water, and I say to her, Give me, I pray you, a little water of your pitcher to drink. And she say to me, Both drink you, and I will also draw for your camels. Let the same be the woman whom Yahuwah has appointed out for my master's son. And before I had done speaking in my heart, behold, Rivkah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder. And she went down unto the well, and drew water. And I said unto her, Let me drink, I pray you. And she made haste, and let down her pitcher from her shoulder, and said, Drink, and I will give your camels drink also. So I drank, and she made the camels drink also. And I asked her and said, Whose daughter are you? And she said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore unto him. And I put the earring upon her face, and the bracelets upon her hands. And I bowed down my head and worshipped Yahuwah, and blessed Yahuwah Elohai of my master Avraham, which had led me in the right way to take my master's brother's daughter unto his son. And now, if ye will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left.
Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said,
The thing proceeds from Yahuwah. We cannot speak unto you bad or good.
Behold, Rivkah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's woman, as Yahuwah has spoken.
And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped Yahweh, bowing himself to the earth. And the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and gave them to Rebekah. And he gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things. And they did eat and drink, and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said,
Send me away unto my master.
And her brother and her mother said,
Let the damsel abide with us a few days, at the least 10.
After that she shall go.
And he said unto them,
Hinder me not, seeing Yahuwah has prospered my way. Send me away, that I may go to my master.
And they said,
We will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth.
And they called Rebekah and said unto her,
Will you go with this man?
And she said,
I will go.
And they sent away Rebekah their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant, and his men. And they blessed Rebekah, and said unto her,
You are our sister. Be the mother of thousands of millions, and let your seed possess the gate of those which hate them.
And Rebekah arose, and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels, and followed the man. And the servant took Rebekah, and went his way. And Yitzchak came from the way of the well of Beer Lachairoi, for he dwelt in the country of the Negeb. And Yitzchak went out to meditate in the field in the evening, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted her eyes, and when she saw Yitzchak, she lighted off the camel. For she had said unto the servant,
What man is this that walks in the field to meet us?
And the servant had said,
It is my master.
Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Yitzchak all the things that he had done. And Yitzchak brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebekah, and she became his woman, and he loved her. And Yitzchak was comforted after his mother's death.
In 24, it's one of those things where you see that prayer and you pray a specific thing, and then it happens, and you're like sitting there, like, did you answer that like in real time? Man, it was really cool. Something like that happened to me. Actually, I was reminded of it today. Last year, when I was praying for confirmations, my wife and I were talking about confirmations about if I should go to Jerusalem, because I was in prayer and I thought I heard go to Jerusalem, and talking about some of the different things. I was recounting a dream to my wife when I had like 5 years prior, and in that dream was just a notable figure, which was my previous landlord. And as I was mentioning in the dream about that landlord, sure enough, he drives right past me, and I see him because I recognize his face. I'm like, whoa, what? And it's just almost like so Eliezer at one point was like, did he just answer my prayer? And is this actually happening in front of me? Like, whoa. And there's promise in Isaiah 65 that, he'll answer our prayers before we even pray. And just blessed. I don't know about you. If you have any testimonies to share of prayer answering instantly, stuff like that, just share it. I also just want to give Yah glory. Yesterday, I was at a stoplight, and I was getting ready to turn left, and the green left turn thing went on. But I kind of just have a habit of just not going right away, and just kind of like when you're taught to cross a road, you look both ways. And, so sure enough, I look both ways, and I'm like, whoa, that car's still going too fast. Oh, and I don't go. And the person next to me goes forward. I was going to turn left, but I waited. Car next to me goes, and boom, 50 miles an hour, smacks right into it. Had I gone and not looked, and I will say I probably even got a nudge from the Spirit. Probably wasn't even just like normal look. It was like, look. And I was looking, and I was like, whoa. That Yoshi, so I was getting ready to turn left. The car was coming. It would have hit right, either me or Yoshi would have smacked right into us. And, I don't know. So I just give Yah praise. It was at the speed they were going, that really could have either seriously hurt Yoshi or even worse. And so just want to give Yah praise. I wasn't praying, hey, save us from a car accident, but it's like, I don't know, just the intervention. Anyways, so praise Abba. He protected us yesterday. And that's kind of getting a little off topic there. Sorry. But, you see him answering the prayer. There's a couple times in these last couple Torah portions, you see this reoccurring thing. It says, let your seed possess the gate of those which hate them. And so there's this like concept of the gate that I want to mention. Lamentations 5:14. This is in the context of the destruction of Jerusalem. The elders have ceased from the gate, the young men from their music. Amos 5:10. They hate him that rebukes in the gate. The gate was for right ruling. It was for deciding matters. It was where matters can be settled either righteously or unrighteously. So they hate him that rebukes in the gate. They abhor him that speaks uprightly. A couple of verses later in Amos 5:15. Hate the evil, love the good, establish just judgment in the gate. It may be that YHWH of hosts will be gracious unto the remnant of Joseph. So establishing judgment in the gate is of utmost importance. Zechariah 8:16. These are the things that you shall do. Speak every man the truth to his neighbor. Execute judgment of truth and peace in your gates. Judges 5:6. Deborah. Again, stick around here. We're almost done. We're going to play the song of Deborah for you, at least the version I've got. I got that downloaded a couple days ago. But it says here, in the days of Shamgar, the son of Aniath, in the days of Jael, the highways were unoccupied. This is the ways of YHWH. The travelers walked through the byways, right? This is not the way of Yah. The inhabitants of the villages seized. They seized in Israel until that I, Deborah, arose a mother in Israel. They chose new gods. Then was war in the gates. So it's like when we can learn a lot by this statement. It's kind of like it says in another passage, those who hate me and do not keep my commandments. Well, you can just know that keeping the commandments means loving him. So by having YHWH as our Elohim and establishing righteousness, we can have judgment in the gates. We can have righteousness in the gates. But they chose new gods. Then was war in the gates. There was there a shield or spear seen among 40,000 in Israel? My heart is toward the governors of Israel that offer themselves willingly among the people. Bless YHWH. Speak, you that ride on white asses, that sit in judgment and walk by the way. So this is those who are establishing justice and walking in the Torah. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water. So this is people that have fled the sword, fled persecution. This is like second Exodus stuff, in my opinion. This is people coming to the land of America to flee oppression and flee the archers in the places of drawing water. So this is starting to sound like Rebekah stuff. So in this place of, protection of sorts, if you will, in this country, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of YHWH, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of the villages of Israel. Then shall the people of YHWH go down to the gates. And so this is like, it's very similar to, I have another one, sorry. Isaiah 126, and I will restore your judges at the first, and your counselors as at the beginning, and afterward you shall be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. And so it's like reestablishing this justice in the gates is part of the restoration. Psalm 127, except YHWH build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except YHWH keep the city, the watchman wakes but in vain. It's vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he gives his beloved sleep. Lo, children are a heritage of YHWH, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Happy is the man that has his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. And so, also just, recognizing that, I'm not going to expound on that right now, but there's this consistent theme about speaking in the gate, challenging the enemy in the gate, keeping the enemy out, and establishing justice in the gates is really the call in these last days. And that's why I feel like I've personally been called to establish a city and to put justice in the gates. We have a council of elders, so it's like there's a quiver of us, and we're not ashamed when we speak with the enemies in the gate, and we're establishing justice here. And so I believe this is what YHWH is calling me to do. And so it's kind of interesting. So I have another song. So we're going to play Song of Deborah. We're also going to play Enemy in the Gates, which is an adaptation of Psalm 127. I did it Linda and Ruth style, or every verse from Psalm 127. So praise Abba. But we're going to just finish up with Genesis 25, and then couple songs and we're done. So praise Abba.
Bereshit, Genesis chapter 25. And again Abraham took a woman, and her name was Keturah. And she bore him Zimran, and Yokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Yishbak, and Shuach. And Yokshan begat Sheba, and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Leumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Chanok, and Abidah, and Eldaah. These were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Yitzchak, but unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and sent them away from Yitzchak his son, while he yet lived, eastward into the east country. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 160 years. Then Abraham gave up his ruach, and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Yitzchak and Yishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar, the Hittite, which is before Mamre. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth, there was Abraham buried, and Sarah his woman. And it came to pass, after the death of Abraham, that Elohim blessed his son Yitzchak, and Yitzchak dwelt by the well Be'er Lahai-roi. Now these are the generations of Yishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar, the Mitzrayim, Sarah's handmaid, bore unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Yishmael, by their names, according to their generations. The firstborn of Yishmael, Nebaioth, and Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mibsam, and Mishma, and Duma, and Masaah, Hadar, and Tima, Yetur, Naphish, and Kedema. These are the sons of Yishmael, and these are their names, by their towns and by their castles, 12 princes according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Yishmael, 137 years. And he gave up his ruach and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Mitzrayim, as you go toward Ashura. And he died in the presence of all his brethren.
All right, praise Abba. Well, don't really have much to put on 25 to add to 25 there, but wow, this is a pretty long Torah portion, and some of you may have taken days to finish this. But a couple announcements. I already shared yesterday's deliverance of how we protected Yoshi and I, and yeah, just very thankful. We had a great feast. Again, that's why there was a couple weeks off, but I just didn't want to miss any of it, so that's why we had this longer one here. We've got Shavuot coming up, very thankful. Also Hebrew Fest coming up. Got some links for that in the notes if you want to take a look at Hebrew Fest there. It's a music festival based off of unity in the body, praising the Most High and just trying to come together in some way. Recognizing a lot of us are divided on calendar, maybe not through contention, but just different understandings of the calendar, and that's just naturally going to not allow us to celebrate together. And so maybe here's something outside of the calendar system where we can just at least just put maybe some of those doctrines down and just unite on Messiah, unite in obedience to the Torah, and just giving out praise about that. And so that's what Hebrew Fest is about. And yeah, just again, very thankful. Right after Unleavened Bread, just 4 days, 4 songs. I don't know if I'm going to share all of them with you, but maybe a couple, at least the 2 I mentioned. Song of Deborah and Enemy at the Gates. Got a couple other ones, Yoshiyahu and Lions. So very, very thankful. Anyways, we're going to start with Enemy at the Gate, and then, actually, no, I want to start with, we'll do the Song of Deborah first. And so let's pray, and then I'll play some songs. I know some of you will probably exit here. I know this music is not everyone's favorite, and that's okay. I'm just being led to make it, and whoever wants to listen, cool. And if not, no big deal. You don't not hurt my feelings. Heavenly Father, we just come before you in Yahushua's name. We just bless you and thank you for thinking of us and allowing us to come back to you and through your covenant. We just pray that you continue to help us to be sharpened, refined, and we just pray for healing for those that need it. Abba, we just pray for your continual support and the different occupations and different things you've given us to provide for our families. And I'm just thankful for your creation. And we just bless you. We look for the return of Yahusha. Amen. Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom, family, and blessings.
Praise Yahweh for avenging all Israel. Hear, O ye kings, give ear, O ye princes. Even I will sing, and I will sing praise to Yahweh, Elohim of Israel. And when you went out of Seir, and the earth did tremble, the heavens opened. Awake, awake, awake. the curse